Hey everybody, welcome to Street Fight Radio. The call-in show is back. We promised we'd be here. We're in town. We got a special guest tonight. It's your Sunday night street fight. We want to hear from you. And the call-in queue right now is actually quite open. So please call us. Give us your thoughts. What's that number, Jason? I don't know it. I really don't. 614-655-3887. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for joining in the chat. If you're on the live stream, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere. We've got the unified chat going. Also, the Discord is jumping. Everything is coming up Street Fight right now. Thanks for being here. We do it every single week, but not next Sunday. Well, are we doing next Sunday?
Not if I'm driving all night.
Yeah, we're going to be driving.
Streetwear issue that has to be attended to next week.
We're going to be driving home from Chicago at midnight on Saturday night and arriving at 6 in the morning here. So I don't think we'll be doing the show next Sunday. So this is the call-in show until after that. Then we've got a few weeks. Let's get an ABCD call-in show. I want to say it now just so that I can get the wheels in motion. We'll do another ABCD show coming up in September. Seems like a good idea to do it. We'll see if we can get someone to come in. I have a good idea. I have some thoughts, but I'll keep those close to the chest. Thank you for being here. If you don't know, we're Street Fight Radio, the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. We do it out of Columbus, Ohio, the capital of Columbus, capital of everything, capital city. That's what they call it, Cap Town. We also have tonight very special guest who you can see perform with us live from the Struggle Session podcast. We have Leslie Lee III.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Doing well.
Very happy to be here. Very excited to be here. By myself, though, because my partner in crime, if you listen to Struggle Session, is Jack Allison. That's my boy. That's my homie. That's my fam. That's my woody. But he is right now stuck in one of the worst places in the world.
Yeah.
LAX.
It's one of the, it's all happening via DM. It's just like every update is more nightmarish than the last.
Yeah, he's been stuck there all day. First of all, he had food poisoning. He managed to give himself food poisoning the day before we start our Midwest tour. And then he finally, he buckles up. He gets it together. He's a very strong, very stout, very powerful man, Jack Allison. And so he got over that food poison in under 24 hours. Made it to the airport to catch his flight, and they say, oh, we have to change the tire. It's going to be a delay. Oh, wait, it took us too long to change the tire, and now we don't have a flight crew. We may be leaving around midnight or so-ish.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. Yesterday it was, hey, I can't make it. I'm way too sick. I'm going to fly into Indianapolis. Today it was, hey, I turned everything around. And now I'm going to arrive at 3 in the morning after 9, 10, 11 hours of travel.
So I want prayer hands in the chat.
Everybody.
For Jack Allison.
Lift him up.
Yeah.
It was so funny when I told my wife that Jack was sick yesterday. He's probably just going to meet us in Indianapolis. She was like, you think he's scared? And I was like,
no, he's not. He's not. He's smart. He probably knows, like, I need a day of, like, sitting in the bed for 14 hours to make this work.
But I know probably the thing that occurred to him when it happened was that he was like, they're going to think I'm scared. Like, that would have been the first thing I thought would have been like, oh, shit, now they're going to think I was afraid to do the tour.
Right.
I'm sick. Nah, he'll get here. It's just, not a lot of sleep.
No sleep at all. And then
it's a tough life.
Yeah, and make no mistake, I'm not going to take it easy on Jack. We still have to put a show together. We're going to put a fantastic show on together for you. He's going to be on about 2 hours of sleep, and I'm going to be yelling at him in the van. All right, we need to do this. Have you heard this? Have you read this? Have you watched this? I am going to put him through the ringer to give you, the listener, the viewer, live in Indianapolis or Detroit or Chicago, a great show.
Yeah, it comes together. I mean, the pros, like, just get there and get it done. You showed up to the New York show about 18 minutes before you were supposed to be on stage, and then went up there, and everybody was like, I think Leslie was the best performer of the night. And I was like, jeez.
I told people that on the Hellfire tour when I was would be talking to people, and they were like, oh, this thing where you guys are taking where other people are coming with you and doing stuff. It's so fucking cool. And it was like, I was like, yeah, we're doing struggle session. And they were like, oh, have they done anything? And I was like, well, Jack was like in UCB. So I think he's okay. And I was like, Leslie showed up about 15 minutes before the New York show and fucking murdered. So I don't think they even have to plan anything before they go on
I
stage.
really appreciate it. You know, it's because Jack, he has done a lot of live stuff, and he was writing for Jimmy Kimmel. And I was a DJ back in the day.
Ooh.
Back before it was even called EDM. We just called it, dance music.
Right.
Raves, when the parties lasted past
Right.
11 p.m. and they weren't all run by Live Nation. I actually know the guy who sold us all out, Disco Donnie. Disco Donnie, who was a big rave promoter, but he did a merger. I'm not sure with Live Nation, but another one, and it basically like killed everything and turned it all into the
he turned it over to them.
Yeah.
Turned over the business to like in the attention to them.
Yeah, but it's you can't really blame him because he almost like Joe Biden almost put him in prison for like promoting raves. He actually the Rave Act back in the early 2000s, where basically they would treat any rave as use the same law that they tried to shut down crack houses with. They would say, hey, if you throw a party where people are doing drugs, that's the same as being like a drug dealer.
Right.
And Joe Biden wrote that law. Funny story though, Joe Biden's kids went to Disco Donnie's parties.
Of course they did.
So
how else did he find out about it?
Yeah, exactly.
One of them got in trouble. One of them got themselves in
the
huge
daughter,
trouble.
while she was at Tulane University, got arrested, got busted for weed, and
Rich kids ruin it for everybody because they get in trouble and then their parents can just bulldoze everything.
Like writes a law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kills everything that was happening for all these people that were able to do it the right way.
Yeah.
They roll in. Being a DJ back then, before they made fun of you for being it, like, because now if you anywhere when you say you're a DJ, people make fun of. Like, it's just the thing people make fun of.
No,
well, it's the same class of job as like Facebook photographer.
Yeah. It's gotten so like corporate and not fun and not really very interesting. I haven't been to a party in forever.
Sure.
Like even the DJs that I liked back in the day, like if I see them, they're just playing. Like it used to be, like you would go in there and you spend all day fucking digging through crates trying to find shit. Now it's like people just want to hear like the top 10 hits, and that's what they do, and it's all pre-made and pre-done.
A remix.
Like they have like dancers and stage shows and lights. Like they can't play a new record. The same show that they play in Los Angeles is the same one they play in Denver, when before it was always like, every new town, every time you heard them, you would be hearing something different and cool.
Can I ask, because this isn't like a thing where like I get to hear a lot about it and I don't talk to a lot of DJs or anything like that. Are you familiar? This was just in town this weekend. It was enormous. Are you familiar with like Bass Nectar and that whole scene?
Not really. No,
Okay.
that they started like when I was falling off. Like I knew some friends who were in it, but like if they were standing right in front of me, I wouldn't know. But I've definitely heard the name
I have
before.
no idea what it is. Like it was, but they played here last night. There was a festival here this weekend, and one of the night, like it blew me away because like. One of the nights was Future, Young Thug, and it was like all these like high level hip hop. And then the next night, Bass Nectar headlined the second night, and it was like, what is fucking Bass Nectar? Like, what even is it? I don't understand it.
Heavy
at
drops.
all.
They give you heavy drops. It's a band that basically they build you up, they build you up, they build you up, and then 90 seconds later you get a drop that everybody goes wild for, and they just keep putting you on the roller coaster ride over and over again. That's what the modern dance is.
Dubstep is the worst thing that ever happened.
Some of it is
dancing.
tight, dude. I think some of it's tight.
But it's the worst thing that happened.
Sure.
It's
yes.
It's the thing that killed everything, and I have to blame the fucking junglists. The drum and bass heads, they were so fucking snooty and up their own butt, and they thought, they were like the hardcore of the electronic dance movement. They thought trance was crappy. They thought house was crappy. They thought we were going to sell out. No, it was the dubstep that sold out and became like the pop music for like 3 years. And it's just like, I'm really upset with all those snooty ass drum and bass DJs I used to know back in the day, because you were the motherfuckers who sold us all out.
Yeah, well, I was friends with people, and Dallas. A lot of them were totally into like Zed and Bass Nectar and I remember they went to like the Electric Forest and all that stuff. They just always were going to those type of EDM parties and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know.
It wasn't like the same where it was just somebody that was really good at DJing that could get a warehouse until 4 a.m, which is what I was more accustomed to. There was no big names. And actually, Columbus has a really good scene. I've been to some pretty wild parties that have lasted past closing time, and there's a lot of young people here that support it.
That's cool. That's cool.
We have a new arts facility called Otherworld. It's an old like Target that they turned into like a 45-room interactive art thing, but they throw shows there. Dan Deacon is playing on Halloween this year.
Oh, that sounds cool. That's repurposing like something really crappy.
Yes, they took back some old shitty. I worked down the street from the Target. I used to go get like ham and cheese sandwiches from the cafe at this place. It was so weird to go back and look at it.
Yeah, it is kind of like that party scene was something that I totally missed because I got like really into nu metal. And that was like a super live nation.
You gotta do ecstasy, dude.
That's the other funny thing.
Ecstasy pills is what makes it. Is where you show up for.
Yeah, but before we take calls, I want to say something that I said this to my wife, and I feel like I always have to say this. Leslie, nobody ruins movies for me like you. I mean, I'm talking like
it's true.
Things that I love. I hear you talk about it, and then immediately I'm like, that thing sucks. And I just did his show.
Yeah.
I just did Struggle Session. We talked about Hobbs and Shaw, which I went and saw like a while ago when we got back from the Hellfire tour. And when we left, my wife was like, what'd you think? And I was like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
And then Leslie said, this movie fucking sucks. And I was like, you're right. It sucks. This movie fucking sucks.
Yeah. If you listen to the show, you actually hear your progression on it. Like you're like, at first you're like, oh, come on. Oh, well, yeah.
Well, and what's going to happen?
I'm trying to make the best of it, guys. Like, what shit you're making the best of?
I wanted to kind of quickly go through sort of my history. Is there was a period of my life where like I thought I was watching art, right? Like where it was like I'm watching all the art movies, all the independent movies. And then I got on Twitter, I learned the phrase middlebrow and found out that I was watching middlebrow stuff. I was not watching
to see it.
Yeah, I was not watching art. But I was not watching blockbusters.
Yeah.
And then I sort of was like, well, what's the fucking difference? And I just started seeing all the movies and liking them. And now you're going to chase me. You're going to chase me back to the middle brow or try to. Because I think I had somebody, Balsong from Twitter on the show, on the bonus show. And I think she's going to. And I'm going to have your film correspondent, Shannon Strucci.
Oh, Shannon, yeah.
I'm going to have them make me watch art movies, I think. Because, like, I just have been so out of it and so long. And every time I listen to your show every week, and every time I see a movie that I enjoy that is, like, a mainstream movie, I hear you guys talk about it, and I'm like, that movie fucking sucks. I feel stupid for even liking it. I was so into Marvel before I started listening to your show.
Oh, man.
Like, I was into Marvel. I've seen every movie. I was very excited, and I started listening to your show.
You weren't. I mean, they spoiled the pot themselves.
You think it's Marvel's
I think from
fault?
Age of Ultron, you were just like, these ones can't live up.
See them.
No, you were... Age of Ultron, you were like, I think these are bad. And then ever since then, you were just like, yeah, I think this is really bad, actually. Every time I go, I
Age
think
of
it's
Ultron
bad.
was a turning point for a lot of people because it was just like, it has such this omnibus name, Age of Ultron. It's based on this comic series that people remember pretty fondly. But when you actually like watch the film, it's just like, what the fuck is this? Why is James Spader like a bitchy robot? Why is the villain something that they created? Who are they fighting? They're just fighting a bunch of CGI stuff. Like, what is the purpose of this?
One thing you fucked me up on is the TV shows, right?
Yeah.
So I watched Daredevil TV show, and Brett, I fucking recommended that show to you 4,700 times.
He was like, you need to watch that Daredevil, man. I think it's something right up your alley.
This Daredevil.
It's like, I read the comics. I like those. I'm not going to watch it.
And I watched it, and then I watched Jessica Jones, and I watched Luke Cage, and I liked them, right?
My wife loves them, too.
And then I listened to his show. I listened to Leslie and Jack, and one of the things you said that is devastating.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Is that these movies are just people talking in rooms.
Yes.
And then when you start watching the movies and the TV shows, you're like, holy shit, these are just people talking in rooms.
See, but that's
all this is.
That's what makes the comics great, though, is that like when people are in a room having a very heated conversation, you're filling in everything else in your mind. So this stuff comes off way more biting and sarcastic
and dynamic.
Yeah, you're getting like a fun texting type tone from this thing. But when you put it on film and have them sit there and talk like that, it's like, what do they do? Like they have superpowers. They got better stuff to do.
Yeah, and they're just like talking to each other like they're Judd Apatow.
Yeah,
and
petty grievances, weird petty grievances and stuff.
Age of Ultron is also number 11, and anybody who it's the 11th I think movie in the thing, and anybody who knows me knows that I like things. And then when they do them too much, I go, all right, enough. I've seen it all now.
Is Hobbs and Shaw the 11th Fast and Furious?
It's the 9th. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's the 9th. And it's
I applaud it because I just do like... I like it when they take franchises and just run them to the... I mean, I know we live in a sequel world right now, but the 7, 8, 9, that is like very, very small amount of franchises get up that fucking high.
Yeah. Academy. Really?
Yeah, mainly Police Academy.
Nightmare on Elm Street,
and all
Friday
the horror
13th,
movies, yeah.
Halloween and Police Academy up until now.
James Bond.
Yeah.
You a James Bond guy?
No, not at all. Like, there's like 3 good James Bond movies. Like it's like From Russia with Love, like the first Daniel Craig one because it was just trying to be Jason Bourne, and that was kind of cool. And then they threw that all out the window, and they don't know what the fuck they are now. They're pretty awful now.
I watched the first James Bond Daniel Craig movie, and you know what
I said? Is that the poker one?
Yeah, that's what happened when I walked out of the theater. I was like, all he did was fucking play poker.
See, now that you know about gambling, though, it might be a different thing. Yeah.
I don't know how to play poker.
Oh, you don't know how to play poker?
I don't know how to play poker. 2, I don't know how to play craps. I just went to the casino and lost $60 the other day because I'm addicted to gambling.
That's fun.
I've only gambled 7 times probably total in my life, but I'm 100% addicted to it.
Yeah.
And I tried to play craps with my last money and was like, probably big payout if I hit here. And I didn't even know how to bet. I was just going like this on the touch because I don't like dealers. I don't like sitting across from a dealer. Like I don't think I like playing with humans. I like to play on the machine. Like
dealers are so sweet. I love them. They're like the best part.
They're mean.
No, when you go to the cheapo casinos, they are mean. But if you go to a decent one, they like treat you. They're like there to make it a good experience.
That woman at Circus was mean.
That is like that's a budget casino. That was a Walmart casino we went to. It had all the same fast food franchises that a Walmart has inside of it.
She hated our guts though. And like I didn't know when to grab the money and stuff.
You shouldn't have. One person running a roulette is fucking bonkers. I've never seen it in my life where one person can keep an eye on all that shit.
Yeah, I want to play roulette again. I mean, like I said, I'm addicted, so I don't go very much. But you know, it's kind of it was just like
Baccarat would be one good one for you because you can go banker, player. You can bet. It's kind of even odds with same way like red and black. Actually, the banker, you get charged if you win as the banker because it's most likely the banker's going to win. So you have to pay like a 5% vig.
Well, the what I was saying is with that James Bond movie, they didn't like explain.
No, you had to know.
In the movie, you like had to know it, and they would just show the cards, and it was supposed to be like an eyebrow raising. And like, here's the thing: it came out when poker was
like huge.
Yeah, and you couldn't do things without poker. Like everything on TV was poker.
Yeah.
Celebrity poker.
All the TV was poker. All the guys at the work were trying to get a poker night going.
Yeah.
Like we need to get something going, man.
The World
just
Poker
$5 or $10,
guys.
something fun. We can play with quarters. I played a quarter poker game.
Superstars.
I have fun at quarter poker games. It's a good time. If there's money on the line, then you're having a good time.
Yeah.
That's when it's like you can pay attention to something. That's when it's important, you know.
That's how I feel.
It's like real fucking dollars.
Yeah, you'll get some pizza money out of it.
Yeah.
I tried to gamble on wrestling when we were in
really?
Vegas. I did. I couldn't understand why they wouldn't let us, and then I kind of figured it out. Like, because I was like, well, they don't know. But then it was like, but the wrestlers know.
Yeah.
That's where the issue comes in.
Yeah.
It's like, because like I wanted to gamble on Double or Nothing because we were in Las Vegas. for double or nothing.
Yeah.
I want to gamble on wrestling, and everybody that has ever talked about gambling, like when I tell them that, they're like, "You're dumb."
What's it?
But I want to do it. 'Cause I love wrestling.
Tom Sexton says we can get, if we all look like chipped in $1,000, we can get like a leftist sports book going and like cleave off some money for like activist causes and stuff. And he thinks he can run the thing if we can just figure out a way. But it'll all be under the table. It'll just be handshake deals and Venmo payments and shit. But we can put some numbers out there maybe.
And we'll do wrestling bets.
And we'll definitely take bets on wrestling. Fuck it. Let's see what happens.
I mean, they did like put in all the work to try to decide, is it worth it for all of us to go in and do a sports book?
We talked about it in the van. We had a lot of time to figure out how we can make it work.
I'm out, man.
I want to run a sports book.
Get arrested for fucking,
because that's one of the things.
Get arrested for being bookies.
That's something I can't set. Like, I won't do that supply. Like, I'm not going to bet on my own sports because I don't know anything about it. That's something I can deal without like losing any money on. You
Go
know,
to the weather, man.
the weather's a good choice.
You can bet on the weather.
Yeah.
The Sams sent us a link to a site where you could bet on the weather because, of course, they did. They play FanDuel all day.
Oh, the fan, even though it came out that was like fucking rigged.
What's worked for them? It's
they
rigged in their
made money.
favor. They've gotten $500 payouts and $200 payouts and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like
they
gambling
said.
has become. Gambling is back, baby. Like it has become like everybody's
It's free.
just
It's
doing
freedom.
it.
Yeah.
I never could get into it because like it may sound stupid, but like I don't want to play if I'm gonna lose money.
Of course.
Like,
That's true.
Like I can enjoy a good game of poker, but once I realize that, oh wait, I've lost $20, I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
I
I could have bought like 2 games on Steam and
Sure.
probably had like just as much fun.
But for me, it's like if I'm gonna go out and like if I can get drinks and stuff instead of going to the bar and spending $60, I can lose $60 over the course of 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Get excited about gambling and get some drinks. It's like a fun night out for me. I don't mind
just
paying
feel
that
like
toll.
I also, my wife was actually, we were talking earlier. She's about just whatever relationship shit, and she said something, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just complaining," And she's like, "That's like." She said, "You're complaining about this. You're complaining about that." And I'm like, "You married a guy that like complains. Like my whole fucking life is complaining. Nobody that lives anywhere near me or is in my life would ever fucking consider that I would stop complaining, right?" And I think gambling and losing money is almost just gets me just as high in a weird way because then I can like complain about it. And I have like a whole
You have a sad story.
2 fucking days I was sitting around saying, and fucking Jamie Johnson's gonna be there while we're on tour, and this place is snake bit. I've never won $1 in Ohio. It's all I have only won in like I was just like, and it feels for me like my hobby since this turned into my job is complaining. And I mean, this is also kind of complaining. This show is about complaining. I just complain. I love it. That's why it's always funny when they're like, these millennials, all they do is complain. And I'm like, have you ever like talked to any human? Like everybody
Everybody's got
complains.
complaints, yeah.
Even those like brutally positive people that you see that are like, don't always think on the bright side, like, they're always complaining. They're posting that to remind themselves, like, not to do it.
Yeah.
Complaining feels good. That's just my opinion.
Sure. Let's
Let's get some calls, man.
do some calls?
Let's do it.
Ready for this? We have
yeah.
expert advice from Leslie. Hopefully this all comes in. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, it's Dr. Wife in Atlanta, Georgia.
Dr. Wife? Oh, no, you're the doctor. Your wife is
I'm
a
the
doctor.
doctor's wife. Well,
yes.
I mean, I'm my wife's a doctor, but I like going by Dr. Wife.
That sounds like a great television show.
Dr. Wife.
The Doctor's Wife.
CBS.
No, the wife.
Dr. Wife.
Yeah, definitely a CBS show.
Yeah. My wife loves those shows.
I was telling, I think
Which was the lawyer's husband or lawyer's wife or something? Was one of the
The
shows?
Good Wife.
The Good Wife.
Let us ask
Yeah.
you this, because I was actually talking about this to Leslie when I picked him up. Did your wife watch The Marvelous Miss Maisel?
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay. Does your wife doctor?
Yeah, we watched some of it. fine.
My wife watches it and she fucking hates it. She hate watches it.
It's like not good. It's like really it's really cheesy and too quippy and icky and bougie and whatever. But for again, my doctor wife works 90 to 100 hours a week, and she's got to turn that brain off and just sort of lay back and let anything just kind of be a nice frivolous little escape,
So you're like washing the dishes and like massaging her feet for her to make sure she can get all this done?
Basically, yeah.
Oh,
tight.
I was waiting to hear. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. When my wife, when I was just, my whole job was serving my wife for a few years because she was working and I was not.
Yeah, what were you then at that point? That's whose wife?
I was the
insurer's wife.
Well, not insurance. It's
the
retirement wife.
Insurer's
she
husband.
Actually works with retirement stuff.
The insurer's husband.
So I was that.
That would be your
she
CBS
was my
show.
wife, and she was like, she would come home, and if she worked overtime, guess what I would do? I would complain about it. I would just go, God damn it, you're never fucking home. This is bullshit. Today, she was talking about, she has a job interview tomorrow. She's like, I'm going to practice the job interview. Both me and my daughter were like, it's the weekend. What are you doing fucking work?
Oh, come on. That's how you get the deal. And me, I lived life as the architect's husband was my life for a few years.
Right now, I'm the teacher's husband.
You got your daughter in on it, too. This is do you guys gang up on her a lot?
Yeah, she thinks so now. I mean, there's a situation that's happening right now with this tour that on Sunday there is a streetwear next Sunday, not this Sunday. There is a streetwear yard sale, garage sale thing.
Swap. I think it's a swap.
It's like a swap meet.
Yeah,
right?
swap meet.
And my daughter wants to go, and we're going to be in Chicago Saturday seeing All Out, the wrestling show. And there's no way I can get up early enough to drive home and get here by 5. So the only option is to leave wrestling and just come straight home. And,
which is doable because you stay up till 5 anyways.
Yeah, so I told Brett we were going to do that, and he's cool with it. We're doing it. But
I can also sleep in a car, no problem.
Yeah, the first situation, though, that was broached was my wife said, well, I'll just take you. And she's like, I don't want to go with you. I want to go with Dad. And I was like, jeez, no. And my wife's all hurt by it. And I'm like, it's just because. Oh, no. It's just. It has nothing to do with you as a person at all. It's just because I'm cool.
You have to do insurance stuff. You don't have time to read the blogs and know what the next drops are.
Our job is professional teenagers. Yeah. That's how I've been describing it lately. Because that's what it is. All we do, like all of us, right? Like, Leslie, you're doing what basically for a job when you go on the air and you do your stuff, right? You're just doing what you did when you were a teenager.
Yeah. Except, I have, a degree now, getting another one. It's very high level media criticism. But yeah, it's the same shit I used to talk about with my friends in high school.
Yeah, and me and Brett are just like, we're just like two dudes like desperately want to fucking be cool. Still at 40, I'm at 40 years old. I thought a time would come where I would say, nah, I don't want to be cool anymore. I don't care. I can do without being cool. Never happened. It just from the time I was 8, and I remember saying, I can't wait till I'm 15, which is I can't wait to be a teenager because teenagers are cool. And I started watching MTV at like 8, and I just from that day forward was like, I want to be like the coolest guy in the world. And that was all I ever thought about. And that's like the only thing I've been striving for since I was a kid. Seriously!
Well, you'll get the presidential medal for coolness someday.
I'm not succeeding or anything. I'm not saying I am the coolest guy in the world. I'm saying that, like, do what you love, know yourself, and know what you love. And what I love is the idea of people saying, man, this guy's cool.
Yeah, success is your coolness
Ryan,
factor.
I am glad to report that I was at the second Atlanta show, and you were definitely, to the fans, the coolest fucking guy. Even when you were just like barreling out completely stoned out of your gourd, exhausted, we were like, oh man, it's Brian, he's so cool.
See?
He's absolute zero.
Lucky guy. Lucky
You've
guy.
achieved it, dude. You've achieved it. You've surrounded yourself with the people who think you're the fucking. I like literally pulled in. You were just sitting there smoking Newports, just like staring. I was like, oh, Brian's so fucking cool.
That is like what I do before the shows. Is and I want to say something before because we are leaving tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I have had a number of people now come up to me and say, I know you don't like it when people bother you, but I just want to tell you this. I have never said that I don't like it when people approach me.
Yeah.
I love it because they like me.
Yeah, I didn't get that impression at all.
I know. I get so excited about it. I'm like, why wouldn't you want somebody to come up and tell you how cool you are? Like, what the fuck? Who gets mad about? Like, I don't think Tom Cruise is a guy that gets probably interrupted when he's at dinner. I wouldn't probably love that, and that would be something. But I'm gonna tell you right now. If I was in Korn, right?
Korn.
I always say Korn.
Korn.
If I was Jonathan Dave, whenever something bad happens that has to do with show business, a lot of times, I'll be like, I'll bet fucking Korn doesn't have to deal with this. Like if somebody is just like asking, if somebody like says, where do I get the tickets for your show? And it's an easily Googleable thing. I'll be like, I'll bet fucking Korn doesn't have to deal with this. But like if I was Jonathan Davis, I'm 90% sure I would stand out in front of the venue and smoke before I went on stage so that people would come up to me and be like, man, you're so fucking cool.
Yeah. So Doctor's husband, what did you call in about?
What tonight? What am I calling it about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, because I called a couple of weeks ago, or I guess it was maybe. Oh man, it's been like a month ago. Just yelling about doctors getting exploited.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a topic in particular calling in tonight. I was just calling. Well, I guess I could thank y'all for just a killer show. That tour was amazing. It was really fun to meet you guys.
You went to number 2?
Like, doubly excited. Yeah. I showed you guys that band that did the music.
I met you. I know.
Flair footage.
Do you want to hear? You want to hear a funny?
Mouth? Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story about that night? I don't think it's been out on the air yet.
Go on.
One of the Black Lips was there. My favorite band.
Oh, okay.
One of
I
them.
saw this
Cool.
or heard this somewhere. Yeah, go
One
on.
of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Ever.
Mine too.
Like I love their music. It's incredible. It's like perfect up my alley type shit.
Foundational of part of our like families.
Yeah. And he left early because he got offended because he only likes political comedy if both sides are represented.
Yeah.
The Sams offended him. The Sams walked one of the Black Lips.
Yeah, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't sit through it.
You gotta have both sides there.
Dude,
Otherwise, if you don't hear both sides, then you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Dude, he made his choice. That hurts. Well, no, I went up to Sam night after, and I gave him major props for going for a hometown hero that night where he criticized some shit John Lewis did in the past that was really fucked up. And it got a little gnarly in the audience for a second.
It
there.
did.
I was like,
Yeah.
Damn, he's going for it. But they're pros. They totally like navigated the moment, but it was major props to him.
Somebody got real mad at him.
I'm fucking sure. But it was, I thought it was totally fair, and that's his style. They pushed. So I'm not surprised that's the segment they got, or that's the crew that pushed him out.
Yeah, the John Lewis stuff, I probably wouldn't have done it.
I would have.
I think balls, dude.
Isn't he bad though?
Really,
Isn't he like?
Dude, here's the
now
thing about
bad in 2019?
No. Even like the way his political career started, it was because of like he used a bunch of racist stuff against another black guy who was running and won white
exactly
voters.
What Sam was
How he got exposed. He is like the sellout guy. Like that's how he started getting into politics. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just like being your hype man. Like, yeah, and there's, you look at his record and shit he says sometimes, and he clearly just, he's just, mainstream centrist dem at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I lived in D.C., there was I unfortunately don't even remember who it was. There was a young black man that got killed by the police, and there was like a protest, and we went down to the Capitol building, and he came out and just like shook hands with people and told them like, go home, everything's okay, we're gonna take care of it. He was like literally like capitulating people, thanks for coming all this way, but we don't need you.
I'm sure there's something inside of him, like that's activist is still inside of him, but you don't get to where he is and still be like a good activist. Like it's just you can't get that support that you need. You can't get the money you need. You can't get that profile that you need. You don't get to be friends with the Clintons. It just does not happen if you maintain that radical spirit. It just can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we talked about this.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the show last week. Like, well, we were kind of dancing around the Epstein thing, and it was just like, for me, it's like, God, it must be crazy to get around those rich people. You know what I mean? Like, it must be fucking crazy to be so John Lewis is the guy that's like an activist that then gets like sort of brought in to an inner circle of a bunch of people with a bunch of fucking money that are untouchable. He gets to, he doesn't have to really work hard to get reelected, any of that stuff. Like, he gets pulled in. Like, God, I admire people who can resist that urge to be seduced by that. Because for me, I just think about, like, when I see somebody throwing money around, I'm like, God, I wish I was the fucking guy throwing money around,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like, that's once again, not, that's, I mean, obviously there are different factors at play in that, major props to Bernie, and the fact that he's had to stay on the periphery for so long because he was out being active at the same time as John Lewis, and look at their trajectories and how different they were. Now, there is obviously the major difference of the racial composition at play, but still, it's like, so I'm pointing, I don't know how that affects one's decisions, navigating these, high levels of power, blah, 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 blah. But that said, it's still all the more impressive that Bernie has stuck to his guns for this long,
Yeah.
I kind of think, I also kind of think it has to do with your upbringing, and I've never researched how Bernie was brought up, but I had a conversation with Leslie earlier today about Billy Corgan, how I said I don't know for sure if he's conservative. Like, part of me thinks that he says things for shock value. He's kind of a carny guy, and that he just knows that being conservative means more than being liberal as a rock star. That is like what I think. And Leslie kind of brought up how, like, this is a guy
who grew up working class, didn't really have anything, and so to him, like, that American dream, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, it's actually true. He actually did that, and that's why now he leans towards the libertarian stuff. A lot of the rock stars from the area, like Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, Maynard, these are people who who actually did not grow up in privilege, like, say, a Taylor Swift or even like the Strokes, so they get this mindset where it's like, hey, I have literally produced like $100 million, but just because of me and my talent, and now you're gonna fucking tax me after the record company already took 75, 80, 90% of it. Fuck you. No, I want to keep my shit.
I mean, and like, that's sort of a, like, one of those things where it's like, I know that's why a lot of the people that are a little more successful that I went to high school with and stuff are conservative, because, like, you grow up and everything's like, I'm probably not going to turn conservative now because I've, kind of read this stuff and understand it a little more. I don't think it's possible that I turn conservative at this point, but, like, if you put me in a position 10 years ago where I made a whole fucking bunch of money, I could see myself being like, I fucking did this, I started with nothing. I was getting fucking payday advances, and now I'm rich, and you're trying to fucking come and take it from me. And I could see thinking that way, and, like, being poor fucking sucks. You know what I mean? And, like, it's even like a lot of the jobs, when you romanticize that working class thing, like a lot of left people do, it's like, man, I did a lot of these, not a lot of them, but I did a lot of shitty jobs. I did a lot of service work. I did roofing. I mean, I did like everything. Yeah. And the one thing I wanted to not be was working class. When I was doing it, was like, I gotta fucking get out of this. And everybody else that I worked with also was like, I have to fucking get out of this. Yeah. So you can see getting out of it and then almost putting on a costume. Yeah. You can really, I understand it.
Like, this is the game we were playing. I won this shit. I mean, we were talking about it on the line. Like, what would you do if you had this amount of money? I made that shit happen, Yeah. That's for me, I definitely have. If I wasn't doing specifically leftist bent stuff, like, at this point, I was like, well, I put in a lot of extra time and effort, way more than other people, so I deserve way more than other people, Right. But you can't hold people to those standards. Like, that's what, it just drives you crazy if you expect people. Like, I can't expect people to be me in how I get things done. It's natural for me, and other people,
Right.
They have their own lives and their own way of doing things, and I didn't really do anything better, I just stayed focused,
Right. It's
not
the same thing
millionaire
with
shit.
Even with the show, with the content wise, was like, of course I could be like, well, why didn't you fucking start a podcast and do what we're doing? Why couldn't you do it? But it's like,
not everybody can.
It's just not a thing that works out for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that's the problem, is that, like, you do have that survivorship bias, so that, like, everybody that made it through all of a sudden is like, we're the elite club, and they know the game they're playing, they accepted it, they get what they get, now, but it's like, there's no reason, there's not, we do need people to do the other stuff, and they shouldn't be white knuckling their entire life, Like, it's great that, like, I get to be on all of these internet platforms, but I don't want the person that is giving internet to people to be, like, struggling, doing payday advance loans and shit. They don't deserve that.
No, absolutely not.
And maybe they will find. They want to follow their own thing and make it work. Who knows? I think we lost the doctor's husband.
Yeah.
It dropped off.
Yeah, it's always like a weird, it is always such a, like, it's a hard conversation to have, because I do think that, like, when you just look at class, it is like a wide spectrum. When, like, every identity, everything, it's like, if you start with nothing and you get more and more as it goes, that is going to, like, change, like, every next step up changes the way, like,
it comes down to the like we were talking about, the designer clothes and stuff, and $600 t-shirts, and, like, working your way up to the point where you can do that, and, like, being a milestone in your life where, like, I can weigh $600 on a t-shirt, like, I made it this far, that I can be this reckless with money. It's hard to fight that urge.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is like a super weird.
It's not. I mean,
it's not weird.
It's beneficial to the ruling class. It's beneficial to everybody at the top, because as long as we feel like we're in a crab bucket and once you get out, it's like, well, shit. I mean, I got it. I earned it. And this is all mine. Everything that was promised.
It always, like, I keep thinking about this movie, and it basically has everything politically that I believe in it. And I talked with Brian about it, and it's Blade.
Oh, yeah, I love that. One of my faves.
Yeah, and what you were just talking about are about, I built my way up, I earned this, Barrow Craft stuff. That's the guys who think they're going to become vampires someday. The humans that serve the vampires.
Right.
And that's them. And, like, most of them don't make it, but they keep stringing them along. And they're essential to the vampires running everything, because they can go out in the daylight and do shit with them, while the vampires just get to sit in their lap of luxury that most of them did not earn whatsoever. And then you do have, like, some of the lower class vampires. Some were born vampires, some became vampires later, and there's, like, a class analysis within the vampire. So I think Blade is probably the best leftist movie ever, because his solution is not to make peace with the vampires, to negotiate with the vampires. He just fucking says, we have to kill all the vampires. I hate the vampires. They rule over us. They don't deserve it. We're just going to kill them all.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We were having I was having a conversation with Antonia Crane, who is organizer for Soldiers of Pole, which is like sex workers union out in California. And she was saying that she likes to always figure out how she has a relationship to people's job. And she was saying that, like, as a podcaster and online person, that, like, we have a lot in common with them because we're giving people a lot of emotional time and labor, stuff that doesn't show up on paper and doesn't make you sweat at the brow. But, like, you know, when people are asking a lot of us so much that you can't put down, but seems, you know, to everyone else, it seems natural. Like, we're funny. It's like, well, you didn't work to be funny. And it's like, I've spent all my time, instead of being good at spreadsheets, I've been spending my time at being good at being funny, you know, and art, like drawing is another thing, like all of these creative things. And when it comes back to vampires and stuff, is that there are these people that they're getting themselves wound up at these jobs that are working 80 hours a week, and they require us to let go, to get their, you know, to have release, to, you know, to have a place to put a lot of, like, the emotional shit that just gets built up over being required to be chained to a desk or chained to a job for 50 or 60 hours a week, you know? And we take the brunt of a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm recently untethered myself from my day job, thankfully. It just, like, it was killing me. It was straight up.
It's a lot.
It can kill you.
It's very taxing.
Yeah, like I would, like, my schedule was up and down. I never knew the next day what time I was working from one week to the next. Very demanding, dealing with customers, all this stuff.
All of it
fucking
follows you home.
Like, all this gray in my beard now is just from those past 3 years.
Did you, like, this is the type of stuff we talk about on the call-in show too. So were you like, did it fuck with your, like, anxiety when you were there? Like, it was like almost, I've said this before about even like all jobs are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because, like, you can't stop thinking about the job once you leave. And, like, did you have that feeling, like, when I go to work on Monday, I'm in trouble and I'm going to get fired?
Yeah, all the time. I had tons of anxiety, tons of depression, tons of anger, you know, to deal with. Like, it just, like, and it's just like, it wasn't worth it. Like, the place I worked at, if it was fucking wiped off the map, like, no one would notice. They would just go to the other place down the street. It's like, and there were so many people there who were getting physical injuries. I even got one too, but I didn't get as bad. Like, one guy almost fucking died, like, stocking some shit, and they kept the machine that almost killed him on the fucking floor.
Yeah, God.
Like, it's just like, and it's not worth it. Like, it's like, if that store did not exist, just completely wiped off the map. In fact, the CEO closed a bunch of the stores recently. Like, if it stopped existing, life would go on the exact same way for everyone. So why are all these people, like, grinding themselves to death? Why are they getting back injuries, knee injuries for this bullshit? Like, just to make, like, the CEOs a bunch of money, and they're barely able to pay their bills.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody about their home insurance thing, and they just had this situation that was a matter of, like, they make it completely impossible and wait until you give up. Like, the first person they sent out to address this warranty issue had no idea what they were doing. The guy was, like, completely confused about stuff and fucked a lot of stuff up. And he had to, like, keep calling back and get somebody else out, and then go to, like, the Better Business Bureau. And then eventually now they're taking care of all of it. But you have to, like, keep fighting through the phone tree to get to the higher level of boss. But all of this is baked in because they want to make the most amount of money, which means the first round of person you get is somebody that they haven't trained properly and that they haven't vetted, that isn't going to do a good job, but it's just enough to get a certain percentage of people to just be like, I don't know, they're not going to fix it. We should just take care of it ourselves, you know?
That is at the cable company. Before they trained me, they sent me out to do disconnects, and it was like, they're easy to do, right? You just put the ladder up, or you go into the box, you disconnect it, you put a tag on it, you're done. And they sent me out to do those. And I did what I didn't know. I had never been trained. Nobody taught me anything. I had just ridden with a guy for 3 days, and they gave me full routes of it. And I got called into the office 2.5 months into my 90 days. And they said, hey, you have 85% on your QCs. if you get it again next month, they extended my probationary period by 90 days. And they said if I got less than a 98% the next month, that I would be fired.
Okay.
For that. And I had never even been through formal training yet.
Oh,
I had
man.
never done anything. And it like really fucking freaked me out. And at the end of that year, when we started talking about my raise, it came up that I had low QC scores at the beginning of the year when I didn't fucking know what I was even doing.
Right.
You know,
like he didn't get it very quick. We'd like to throw somebody in there without any knowledge and see what they do. He wasn't quick on the uptake.
I had those numbers to deal with too, and it's like it's just made to drive you crazy. Like it doesn't benefit you when you get that number.
No.
This score, this thing, it only can hurt you. It only negatively affects you. It does. If it does benefit you, it's like money that you should already be getting paid, that they're holding hostage.
Yes.
Unless you reach this level.
And then it's like security too. You have to trade it in, because we would always just sue for 90% of the metric, because then they wouldn't be like, wait, we can make the metric higher.
Yeah.
If you hit 100% too many times, they're going to say, this is too easy. We need to reevaluate. Yep. So you're playing this game the entire time.
So
all right, you want to jump on the line?
Uncontrollable ones.
We're doing a call-in show, fellas.
Sorry.
Okay.
Jeez.
Let's see what the people have to say. They're living it. All right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Abby.
What's up, Abby? How's it going?
Wow, actually, I did it without a bunch of, I called in last week to say about, I either have a story about
I
the State
remember.
Department getting me fired. Yeah. But I think I'm going to do, what do you want?
If you have something in mind, that's fine. I was thinking the fired story, but Brett wanted the other story, so it's kind of, whichever story you think.
Okay, I'll start with the overtime, because, I work manufacturing. I'm in Vermont. There's not a lot of manufacturing jobs. But my job, they have mandatory overtime, like, basically every week, or 3 out of 4 weeks during the summer.
Yeah.
We have something called the collective bargaining unit, which isn't union, but it's something. And apparently it gets us so we only have to do it 3 out of 4 weeks. And so it's like
you're only forced to work over your normal times 3/4 of the time.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. But here's the thing. It's usually 8 hours of overtime. For some reason, they don't make me do it.
What? I mean, why don't they make you? Like, they just...
Did you not do it from the beginning, or are you just one of those people that
I've never done it.
See, that's the thing. Is
And
like
intimidated them.
You cracked the code. I'm a live your own life person too. That where like you do stuff and then they try to make a fuss about it, and you just keep doing what you want, and they're like, well, I mean, he's reliable on some stuff, but we definitely can't make him do the other things.
Yeah.
I sometimes
I actually work instead of just standing around bullshitting all day, but
sometimes also
not that I care.
I think people intimidate their boss a little bit, because there was a lot of times where I got treated differently than the other people that worked there, and like generally it was probably because my boss liked me, because it's my only skill in life is that people just like me, and like I got treated differently, and I also then when a new manager would come in and they would ask me to do extra shit, I would be like, I ain't fucking doing that. That ain't how it's done. And I would just start yelling about it in the meetings, and they would just quit asking me to do shit.
They're like, Brian, I know you have to do your podcast on Friday. We're not going to make any mandatory overtime. I understand.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm not doing it. Like, I had them to the point at 2 jobs I've had where they would give out free concert tickets, and they would do them as a contest or a raffle for the whole company. But I had both of my cable job and my call center job both, to a point where if a show came in like Korn or 9 Inch Nails or something, they just called me and gave me the tickets. So, like, I was just like, I'm so difficult to like work with in a regular setting, because like I just
You require everybody to bend around you.
Right, and I never stop. It's when I worked at real jobs, I just fucking never stop saying I'm not gonna do that. Like if a new thing, this is a new thing that we have to do now at the job, I'd be like, I got food, you didn't have to do that when I got hired, I'm not doing it, you know. And then they gotta bend the fucking thing.
Like, no, I signed up for a different job. I don't do that.
And they hate when you do you ask a lot of questions in meetings?
There are no meetings.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the floor in the shop. Yeah.
Okay. Do you
but
like?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
All my coworkers apparently have to do it, and so I have to kind of hide from them that I'm not doing it.
Oh.
And it's super and also it kind of neuters me. I can't complain about it. I can't be like, what's up with all this overtime? Because then maybe they'll notice that I'm not doing it.
That's a tough position.
Well, I mean,
and actually,
do you want to do? Is there a part of you that wants the money?
No, of course not.
No, I mean, some people. Listen, I know they're.
It's
not
right there for the taking.
Listeners.
They would go, and if they needed
That's
the
true.
money, they would just do it.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
I don't know. I never know how to handle
Yeah, because
do they know? Do you think that they know? Like your bosses know that they're not making you do it? Do you think that maybe you've slipped under the radar?
That's what I'm terrified of, because they have to look at my check stubs and my hours once in a while to fix stuff, and they've never said anything.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think there's two possibilities here. One, you hide, and they just aren't noticing you, which is a great way to do things.
Good tactic.
Yeah, that's a great tactic. But there's also the other tactic of, like I said, they're intimidated by you, and they think that anything they do to you out of the ordinary will make you blow up. And so they don't want to deal with
your seed of doubting them. Also, sometimes they're don't remember why you have a special relationship, but somehow they know you have a different hours, and they're just I'd rather not bring this up. And my managers aren't on me. I don't have to answer any emails. It's really just a matter of you're not a squeaky wheel. Nobody, if nobody if nobody of the other workers notice, and there's no reason that someone is wondering why your time is fucked up, then everybody just wants their job to be smooth sailing. So you are getting on a technicality. I had a job one time where we were doing a sales type thing for over limit credit cards, and I developed a spreadsheet that gave me a much higher percentage and bonus than everybody else. And when other people found out about it, all they did was take it away from me. So I feel like if you tell everybody else that you don't have to do it, they're just going to force you to do it or make you quit your job.
Yeah,
I think
that's why I'm so. Cause
sometimes I don't know, man. It's tough because I feel man, if everybody else can't figure out a way to just seed of doubt themselves into this circumstance, that's on them. You got to live your life your own way.
They're also old. They're old.
And they need money.
And
you figured it out. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh God, late 30s. I can't remember.
You got it. I figured it out. If you're the youngest person there, that's intimidating. They don't want to fucking lose you. They don't want you to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And listen, I know this is wrong to say. Old people love working, man.
Yeah, they do.
Can't get enough.
They do. They really do.
Sign up for more. It really, they just can't get enough.
I've worked with guys that work.
It gives them a purpose in life.
I've heard that.
It's godliness to them.
I've heard that, but I worked with guys that they put us on call at the cable company. So every 2 or 3 months we had to be on call. And there were guys that would pay me $100 to take my week of on call away from me.
Yeah.
And I would take their fucking $100 and not have to be on call.
Yeah, my mom is I'll be can you take off tomorrow and pick my daughter up from school? And she'll be yeah. because Scott will give me the day off because I'm always bugging his ass for extra work, and he can't give me enough. So yeah, like go mom, go, like fucking do it all. Yeah, really do all the work.
Yeah, I think we figured that one out because just old people love.
If they want the money, if they're happy and you're happy. If they're not, like I would say once.
Well, I don't think some of them are happy. Some of them bitch, and I'm like,
they're mad that you don't do it.
Do it like I do.
True.
Like,
I mean, it's up to them. It's up to them to go to somebody else and make a stink about it. They can't bully you into it. You're in the cut. You're in the right position doing your own thing. If they want to make a stink about it, they got to talk to the boss. Yeah. And then you're going to have to probably do mandatory overtime.
Yeah, if anything, just hype them up. Hype them up to complain so they don't do it, but tell them to leave your name fucking out of it entirely. That's like, what you do.
I noticed some people don't show up for mandatory overtime. We need to get more than 3/4 of the days off.
I've noticed that some people never show up for overtime. Is a really, I would sit outside of their house.
Man, I'd throw a battery at your ass too.
I'm sure they.
I'd throw a battery at you.
Another thing. Another aspect of this is like the shop floor is overwhelmingly QAnon and MAGA.
Damn.
There's people who have QAnon stickers on their toolboxes.
Oh my goodness! So they love to work. Yeah, this is really close to God. Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
You're dealing with people who love to work. Even if they're complaining about it, like
that's a bonus. They like to complain.
You know what? And they need somebody to complain about it. And if you can be that liberal, non-working scumbag for them, like that's wonderful because they're gonna be like, he fucking doesn't show up for mandatory overtime. I'm there every Saturday.
Oh, they like it. They like it.
They do like it. I mean, they need somebody to be better than. So you need to take your position.
Yeah, they do hate me.
Yeah, let them be better than you and take your life away from your job and be happy, not spending all your time there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much my plan.
That's great. Well, thanks for calling in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Next time, the State Department story.
Okay. I'll look for it. Thanks for the shout out in the chat. I'll look for it again.
Bye.
Peace out. Abby. Yeah, that's a good one. That was a great call. You ready to get this next one in?
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's see who's here on the line. They've been waiting a while. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who we talking to tonight? Where you at? There you go.
Hey, what's up? Brett, Brian, special co-host. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, Leslie's here with us. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. So this is I go by Wildman online on Twitter.
Okay.
On your Discord. I'm out here walking my dog in Chicago.
Nice.
And I do got 2 tickets for me and the wife to go see you guys on Friday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
right?
What does your wife do?
What does she do? She is the head nutritionist at a residential eating disorder clinic.
You're the nutritionist husband.
Girls.
You're the nutritionist husband would be your CBS show.
Right. Yeah, but if I could just drop out of life and live off of her salary, I'd be very, very happy. But unfortunately, it doesn't pay the bills. She's got like 5 years of education, right? She's got just as much debt as a lot of other medical degrees, medical adjacent degrees. But maybe because it's women's work, I don't know. But that field does not pay. You know, well, considering the type of work she's doing, life-saving work, putting people on grips, putting people on people who are, days away from potentially slipping out.
Yeah, there's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of money invested into that type of stuff. For sure. I know. We're good friends with a nutritionist, and she spends a lot of time with Medicare clients and stuff, and seeing people that are in that system. And yeah, it's not profitable, but you can make a go at it.
Lives, yeah.
You can make a scratch. You can make some scratch, and have a flexible. She has a more flexible lifestyle because of it. But yeah, it's not like something that's
not doctor money.
Right.
I'm not doctor wife.
Right. You're not the doctor's husband.
Yeah. But hey, Brett, you ride bikes, right? I see pictures of you. Right. I ride bikes too in Chicago.
Okay.
And I got a quick little bike story for you. Okay.
Want to hear it?
I'm sure you're familiar with this type of situation. maybe somebody's riding your ass, honking at you, threatening your life with their fucking Dodge pickup truck.
Getting
right?
close. Yeah, they're like getting close to the wheel.
Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, couple weekends ago, me and a buddy were riding around town, just right around the city. It's like midnight, 1 a.m., just really taking our time, cruising through the streets, and we end up downtown. We end up in the neighborhood just to the north of our downtown, like where all the fancy bars are at. Everyone's wearing a suit to go out, and we're riding on this narrow little old street, and this taxi comes up behind us and is riding our ass, honking at us. We got to pull over to the side of the road, dodge between two parked cars so it can pass us. And it's all the passengers in the car are, their heads, they're like sticking out the window. They're shouting at us. They're cussing at us. Oh, what is wrong with you? Get out of the fucking road,
Yeah.
And usually I've been riding bikes for, 7-8 years. And usually it's just as simple, usually my first reaction is to be like, oh, well, technically, bikes were allowed to be in the road, but patience is worn thinner these days. So I just start getting into it with this guy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
fuck you,
My wife sometimes, she's like, we have the right of way, and I'm like, but like, if you have to prove that by like, getting barreled over by a car, it's not fucking worth it. Like, some of these folks, I do just pull over to the side and let them around because it's really not worth it. Dallas was like very, very unwelcoming to bike people. There was a lot of SUV people that, and like, they would just scrawl a little line, about 12 inches from the curb and call that a bike lane. You'd be riding down full of glass and broken fucking concrete.
Warning line.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it is like Columbus has made a lot of headway with their bike infrastructure, and there is some really nice protected like bike freeways that run across the city now. But it is still a real big challenge, and at this point, biking is, I love to put my head down and compete with the cars and try to race with all of them. But now that I got a kid and everything, I'd rather just pull to the side and let them go around because I don't want to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
the funniest thing.
I'm not an aggressive rider.
I'm not either.
I ride upright. I take it slow. I take it easy. I'm mostly in it for, just recreation.
Yeah. I stop at all the stoplights and
yelling
stuff.
Match. Oh, well, I don't do all the stoplights, but, a good 80% of them, But we're getting into it, right? And, it's this guy, he's like this big shot. We're in the fanciest, richest neighborhood in the city, right? He's in the taxi with a car full of beautiful girls, all done up for the night. And he's yelling at me, I'm yelling at him, and then he starts saying this, something that really shocked me. He goes, Don't you got to go to bed so you can go to your Starbucks shift tomorrow, liberal? There's nothing to indicate liberal,
But you're a bike rider.
And then he starts saying, something like that. Oh, I'm not riding around in a taxi in River North. And then he starts saying, oh, why don't you go vote for Bernie Sanders twice?
That's
saying,
great.
AOC for president, mocking me. And I'm like, I spend a lot of time online, right? And I feel pretty steeped in this sort of bullshit political culture,
Yeah.
These little shorthands. Like the shorthands, liberal, Bernie Sanders, AOC, it's all shorthand. I understand it. But I'm like, here's this like guy, right? He looks like he's like, I could just imagine him, like whatever job he's going to. Maybe he's a lawyer, maybe he's got some fancy job where he sits at the computer all day. I know for a fact that this guy browses the internet just as much as a schmuck like me does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he knows Bernie and AOC,
to someone who doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy. I mean, he's living life. It's like we were talking about earlier. He's someone that like made it. He probably did coding or something. He's got 6 figures. He's got a lot of money. He knows how to spend it to get the night of his life. And he's like, pick on some guy that's like, fuck, you want me to share this with you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to share this shit with you at all. I'm having a good time tonight.
Yeah, because that's a tale like
He still gets mad. He's as mad as I am.
Yeah, he's still miserable. Everybody's still miserable.
Because if he had said like Hillary or Biden, that would just be like a normie who watches TV.
Sure.
But when you're diving deep into Bernie Sanders AOC territory, that guy's on Reddit. That guy's on 4chan.
Those are deep tracks, man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're all meme guys. Like a lot of the right wing is just like really poisoned with the same stuff. I bet you when he thinks of AOC, he thinks of the like googly eye picture that they post. Like that's like his whole thing.
AOC on a donkey. The Democrats are a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah, the Dumbo-crats or demon craps. Whatever.
Yeah, it is tough out there. Thanks for
too deep into their minds, man.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
in there.
Thanks for having me on too. Okay?
Yeah, thanks for calling in and spread the word about bikes. It is
And
tough
Brian?
out there. It's a challenge.
What's
Brian,
up?
I know you've been losing. I know you've been losing big at the casinos. But you ever heard of the 2-state rule?
No, what's that? You're gonna get me in trouble.
You're losing in Ohio because you got to skip over Indiana and go to Illinois and gamble with all of us after the show on Friday, right? You ever heard the rule? 2-state rule.
No, I haven't, but
It
I
won't
am.
come up if you Google it. It's how people win big. That's why you can't find it online. So after the show on Friday, okay?
Your money's in Illinois, man. Your money is in Illinois just waiting on you.
Okay, I'm gonna go gamble in Illinois.
Friday.
Just like a few games of only a few games of roulette. That's it. I'm not. Is there a casino near Chicago?
I don't know one.
There's one in Rosemont.
I don't know where that is.
which,
Is there
you know,
one
you
near
could take-
Hoffman
it-
Estates?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
up there.
really? We're going
that's
up
where you
there.
guys staying?
No, we're going up
There
there
you
for
go, yeah, and
wrestling.
people can-
I'm gonna play it. Maybe I'll try the 2-state rule because the home rule is I'm in bad shape.
Yeah, playing at home will get you fucked up.
Oh, it's too bad.
You listen to me, man. I'm telling you the truth, okay? You can trust me.
Yeah.
You
Okay, I'm gonna trust you. You got me gambling.
It
now
feels like when
again.
you play at home, it feels like your friends and family are going to walk in and see you. You know, it's like you can't get bold. You can't get bold enough to come back from being under, right? You can't just say, like, I'm going to put 80 down and be like, I fucking got 160. You know, like I'm back. I lost 200 and I'm $40 closer, right?
This might be right though. See, here's the thing. When I said I was at the casino the last time, everybody on Twitter was like, "Brian, go home.
Go home, yeah.
Brian, go
yeah,
home."
if you get your money back, you gotta leave. I mean, I think the best part is you have to get a huge hit from like leaving when you have your money. It's like when I used to go play cards after I dropped my daughter off at school, and sometimes I would be there for 14 minutes. Like I would take $100 with me, and I would play and get to like 180, and then it'd be like, $80 is a lot of money. I'm just gonna leave right now, and it'd be like I was there for 14 minutes, you know, or 9 minutes sometimes. If I want to, I would win $100 and be like, I have to leave. Or some $60. It's like that's enough for me to turn around and go home.
I get $100 and I start thinking like I could win enough to pay my rent.
No, don't get there.
No.
You're gonna bet like 500 to get 1,000.
I know.
That's the only way.
I know, but I start sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay, so I came in here with 100 and now I got 200. I need 965 to pay my rent. I think I can do it. I think I can win that many times in a row. Plus, very reckless with house money. Like, in a way
Yeah.
that is...
Well, you play for different
As
reasons.
soon as Brett taught me about house money, he was like, "No, that it's called house money when you have like built something
Extra
up."
money.
And
When
I'll
there's
be
extra
like,
money
I would never.
that you didn't show up with.
I
You
would
can be a little
never-
more loose with it.
Yeah.
I would never spend $40 like just out of nowhere, but I'll be betting $40 to $60.
House money. If it's house money, yeah.
It's house money. Who
House
gives a
money.
fuck?
And when
They
you
got nothing to
win-
lose.
When you win on like a high bet, oh,
Yeah.
buddy.
Really
there
get
is-
you going.
It's the best. It's better than drugs, which I love too. You know.
All right, let's get this thing rolling. I gotta get the next call so I can go take a pee.
We'll
All right, guys. Guys, have a good night.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks for
Thank
calling
you.
in. We appreciate it.
Well, we're due for a
Thank you.
break in 15 minutes. So let's take 2 more calls.
Okay, I'm gonna
and
set
take
you
a
up with the
break.
next call, but like I really do have to go.
Pee in that hole. You know, there's a hole.
It's
over
half
there
bath.
to pee in.
It's called a half bath.
Quarter bath.
It's called a half bath. Quarter bath.
Hey, what's up? You're on Street Fight. Who's this?
Hey, what's up? It's Alex, Worldwide Killer.
Alex.
Alex,
Keller.
hey. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going,
I
dude?
beat the fucking shit.
Oh, really? Yeah, you had Wrestle Rager yesterday, right?
Yeah, fucking biggest, fattest one yet.
Oh, really? What was it?
Yeah, we were sold out on like Friday at like 300 tickets, and then like Christ knows how many other fucking people showed up.
Man, that is awesome.
That's awesome, man.
I wanted to get up there, but we're leaving on tour tomorrow, so it's kind of driving to Cleveland was not the most enticing thing.
Yeah, for sure. Plus, this thing was a fucking death march because we started the show at we opened doors at 3, and then the show went from 4 to 8:30, and then from there we had a Q&A with Raven, and then fucking bands.
Raven was there?
Yeah.
One of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
We Weird World teamed up with him against the Duke and some little shitheads.
Was it cool? Was he cool? Was Raven cool?
Yeah, he was actually in a pretty good fucking mood, which we were all surprised about.
He was. I'm gonna tell you, Alex. He was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up because
of course.
There's really two guys, right? There is Kevin Nash and Raven, who were legit cool. What seemed like they would have been legitimately cool outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
Because there is wrestling cool, and then there's real life cool, and it's very hard, I think, for wrestlers. I think being on the road hurts them in a way. If you were on the road 300 days a year, you ain't gonna know.
No, it's cool. No, you're not gonna know.
Well, also, there's a theory in wrestling that whatever age you are when you get in, that's basically where your culture freezes and everything in your brain, because then you just get stuck inside the fucking bubble.
Well, you see that with lots of people too. I mean, lots of folks that are if feathered bangs were in when they were a teen, they just stick to it forever. I mean, it happens to a lot of people. Just get stuck in time or feel comfortable with frosted tips. You know.
Yeah, but Raven was a guy because he, early on he was a prep Johnny Polo, and he was able to reinvent himself as a 90s grunge guy. And then in the 00s, he became a little bit more goth and kind of cool like that. He was always, because he was a very smart guy, and he was always able to reinvent himself for the time.
Yeah, he's in Mensa.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to get in Mensa, I think.
Really?
I think I could do it.
He was also a troop for a hot minute.
Oh,
really?
That's not a Mensa move.
Yeah, he was I guess he basically joined the Marines in the Army or in fucking college just to see if he could do boot camp and shit, and then he was I don't want to do officer training, and said fuck it.
Wow. Okay.
Basically,
so
he did the smart guy thing and just got ripped and then fucking got out.
That is smart.
Okay.
Just use them as your personal trainer.
Yeah, people pay a lot of money for boot camps. He got paid for boot camp.
Right.
That is really funny. He was and he also, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of the guys that sued Vince for
for the independent contractor shit.
Yeah. He sued for the independent contractor status. Wish he would have won. Then Uber and Lyft wouldn't even exist.
Yeah, right.
So,
Someone's gonna crack the code on that thing sooner or later.
I don't think. I mean, I think it's go. I think the independent. We're more likely to live in a world where everybody's an independent contractor than a world where they roll back the independent contractor.
Yeah. Voluntarist society, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want that.
No. Gadsden flag. Don't tread on me. We will all just have independent contracts with people. I don't want to be a part of your chattel slavery of paying for my shots and paying for my nutrition.
Yeah, that's what it's. I mean,
then I'm just gonna keep working under the table and staying on Medicaid. Fuck that.
That's the way to do it. Well, you don't want to say that, but I guess on the air you get a crazy cabbie situation. I think if somebody does beat the independent contractor thing for wrestling, I do think that is on the road to all of it, or even the other way around. If somebody beats the independent contractor thing with Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, then we end up on the road to beating it for wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it has to be. I think it would be wrestling because none of those apps make any money or have any plans to actually make any money. Vince actually makes money.
That's true.
If they suit,
and also it's such a fucking clear-cut thing where when people find out about it, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But
and the wrestlers have leverage now, too.
They do have leverage. Yeah.
Like, there's actually leverage in the industry now, too, which there hadn't been for a number of years. So, like...
That's the AEW, the smoking company.
Yeah, I mean, you know, AEW is run by billionaires, too. But you would rather it be a competition between two billionaires than just a monopoly. One, I guess? Yeah. I don't know.
It takes a good billionaire to save us from a bad billionaire.
Well, fucking going to Walmart and feeling better about yourself than going to a fucking than ordering through Amazon. But you know.
Do you think? Yeah. I mean, yeah. So we're about to take a break, Alex. What was there anything that happened yesterday that was cool?
Yeah. Actually, speaking of fucking Detroit, I played with my one band Rat Fucker the night before at the same bar with this band from Philly, like Zorn. They're like one of these like new wave, like sort of like satanic Husker Du sounded like metal bands.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking like Devil Master shit like that. And we were like talking to them, and they're like, "Oh, we have like a show booked in Detroit tomorrow, but like I don't know, the promoter's being really sketchy." Da 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 da. And I was like, "Well, some friends of bands like fucking played Detroit a couple weeks ago and showed up and did not have a show. So check to see who the fucking promoter is." And they're like, it's not the same guy, but also he says he has no local bands and it's just at a PJ night. And I'm like, well, I can get you guys access to this sold-out wrestling show at $50 and a couple of drink tickets if you just want to hang here since you're playing fucking Cincinnati on Sunday. Save you 8 hours of drive and get fucking party. So they ended up playing, like, we basically had almost the exact same concert, like 2 nights in a row. Only the second night I fucking like just bled like a maniac fucking during our set, which I didn't do the night before, which was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, Alex, you're one of the few people who gets color from music, just from a headbanging so hard.
Actually, I read that book, Our Band Could Be Your Life, and a lot of them claim to have gotten color.
One time, I tried to give somebody, like, they were going to do a crowd surfing from the pit, and I bent over to grab their foot, and they jumped and kneed me right in the fucking nose. And my nose was just bloody all the way down.
Just like Becky Lynch.
Yeah. And I took my shirt.
You know the fucking wrestler.
I just took my shirt off and wiped it up and then threw the fucking shirt into the crowd.
Who was that, Alex?
You.
What were you asking? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying, just another mosh pit story. You know, like Ray Rowe, the wrestler, he's in like the War Raiders or whatever the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking, he used to like go to like beatdown hardcore shows back in the day. Like, and it was probably like 2008 or 9. It was like this festival, like Summer of Hate, and I was at the edge of the pit, and like he like was like moshing, and he did this fucking spin kick, and I went to like block it with like my forearms, and he like followed through so hard, and his foot just like smashed through straight into my fucking balls. And, Ray Rowe was like Ray Rowe. So I didn't make any point of it.
That's otherworldly.
With 20 dudes on fucking stage in Jason masks, who then, like, as soon as the band started playing, just jumped off the stage and just ran through the crowd kicking beers and fucking smashing people.
Yeah.
So
it's a great time.
Damn.
Good time shit. But I'll let you guys get to the break. Also, if there's anyone in Cleveland going to the Street Fight show on Tuesday, I could use a ride.
Drive Alex to the show, Cleveland.
Please,
people.
I would love to see him. I would love to see him.
Please drive this guy to the show.
At the Tower 10, I got some gas money. Fucking, my car's a piece of shit. I don't trust it.
I love this guy.
New York, fucking Detroit. Detroit.
Yes.
All right.
Peace out.
Thanks,
All
Alex.
Get to the break. Get that piss, and I'm gonna pass.
All right.
Peace.
So our band this week is Leche, and the album. The album is called Trickle Down My Ass. It's on Bandcamp, digitalhotdogs.bandcamp.com. It's got a picture of Ronald Reagan on the cover, and it's got blood. It's blood stained. And this song's called Stevie Ray Vaughan Life. And we will be back as soon as we're ready.
Yeah, it's a tight little 11-minute album, but we might be back after. You get what you get. All right, let's go take a break. Woo. So far, so good.
How many calls we have?
There's a whole bunch.
Oh shit! What do I gotta do? Did I do something wrong?
I'm gonna set a timer for 6 minutes and 66 seconds for everybody, and then I'm just gonna fucking roll them on to the next thing. That's how we're gonna manage this next half.
Oh shit! You know what it is? I got it. I'm sorry, guys.
Baby, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
All right, there it is. Now it should be playing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Street Fight Radio. Call in with a very special last minute guest. Wow. We pulled the audible.
I did it. I really made it in. Against all odds, I made it in.
It's just like Tupac.
Just like Tupac, against all odds. Yeah.
Jack Allison is here. Airport be damned. All of the tomfooler with tires
I
and
got a
shit.
stomach virus yesterday. You know,
That too.
I was shitting my pants all day yesterday.
Trials and tribulation.
Much, literally to the degree. This is no joke. I was so scared of taking the plane today. My wife bought me like diapers, and I'm currently now wearing a diaper and wore it on the plane.
They have some pretty sporty models.
It's not
now.
bad. They're not that uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I like, I was like so scared because I was shitting myself yesterday, and I was like, well, she was like, that's it. And I was like, that's what you wear them for, I guess.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's what you do.
It's better than taking a stack of toilet paper and just stuffing it between your butt cheeks.
That's called a muffler.
There exists a device for when you're afraid you're going to shit yourself, and it's available at any drugstore.
Yeah, better than ditching your underwear in an airport bathroom or trying to get it sucked down that fucking hole.
There were no mistakes. There was nothing. There was no issues whatsoever. The diaper is unblemished, but I did wear a diaper today.
Well, we got some folks that want to hear from us. They have questions and stories. We have to get this thing done in a timely manner, so we're going to give you 6 minutes and 66 seconds before we got to give you the light and get it rolling. This call-in queue is full. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you want to see the live struggle session in Street Fight, it is happening tomorrow night in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's happening Tuesday in Detroit, Michigan, and it's happening Friday in Chicago, Illinois. You can find all of that information at streetfightradio.com on the main page there. The left side is going to have the newest episode. The right side is going to have all of your links that you want to click on to get your tickets and make sure that you're there. We are not in control of some of the ways these shows are run, so you should buy tickets now because they're going to add $5 to the day of or $2 or something because they feel like it's like marketing. It sucks to be with these people because like we have to control these people. We got to make them buy them.
They're allowed to. They're allowed to add more money, so that's why they do it.
They
right?
go for it. Yeah, they're like, we're gonna make them buy it now, otherwise we're gonna make them pay. And it's like, well, I mean, they were gonna show up. Like that's the problem with doing the show is that we pitch everybody on it, and they're used to bands, they're used to all these other things, and they really are concerned like. You mean a lot of people are going to show up to watch you? Or like people are going to pay $20 to go to see your show? Or you're kidding me? And it's 150 fucking people showed up to see it and paid $20.
I do have a theory on this. And I'm sure a decent amount of these bookers have been burned by a podcast.
Yeah.
As in like some local fucking show came and said, we're going to do a live podcast. It's huge. It's the new radio. And they came fucking rolling in there and 15 people showed up. And they're like, okay. Because when we first started booking shows, they were like, we don't do podcasts.
Yeah.
And it was like, I kind of don't. I think you're missing out.
Yeah.
But I also understand what's going on here. You know? It has to be better than a band.
No, I mean, some
easier.
Bands rock. Easier, way easier, yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's see who's on the line here. Let's take our first call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, what's up? It's Jordan from Baltimore.
Howdy.
What's up, Jordan?
How's it going? I saw you guys a couple weeks ago in D.C.
Nice. That was a good show.
Yes. Speaking of that venue stuff, I was thinking with that, like, they didn't even give you guys the main stand-up stage.
I know.
Which was downstairs.
We may have told them we didn't want that stage. We may have said that we didn't want to do that stage because we felt as though 2 shows on the first night of that tour was better than 1 show because we were terrified about timing.
This is not more anti-podcaster bias.
No, well, it would have worked. So what happens is if you get a room that's a certain size, and you sell out that room, then people just aren't going to get in if you can't sell 2, right? Like, so it's either sometimes it's more beneficial just to do 2 instead of 1. But I don't remember what the reason. There was reasoning behind doing the room we did. And I can't remember what it was, but it probably was a mistake. You know, they did. The woman that worked at the counter, she was very mean at first, we thought, and then ended up being very nice.
I liked her.
And, well, she was just like yelling at us the whole time.
Well,
she was telling somebody, one of our listeners, like, yeah, Louis C.K. was here recently, and I was like, this is like the wrong audience. What's up, Jordan? What's going on tonight?
Yeah, not much. I'm super psyched that I called into the show with you guys from Struggle Session. I'm a huge fan of you guys too.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love especially Jack's line in the show Complicated, where you're like, we're talking about Orange Man Small Hands here.
Sure. Thank you. That's the
That's
very
me
extended
gold,
poker
man.
scene where it's all Trump riffs and everything. If you haven't seen Complicated, go to viewboo.com.
And that comes from personal pain, because that is what you would be doing right now.
I had to do that
for
for a very long
six
time.
figures. You'd be making 6 figures doing those kind of jokes forever.
That's true. You can. I could have done that. I could have been. And sometimes you think the 6 figures would have been nice, but it does suck. It does suck to do those kind of.
It's not worth it. You trade in so much.
Yeah, it really is.
That's what separates us, because even talking to like Sam Sachs when we were doing the Hellfire tour, he had a job before where he made like almost 6 figures, and it was like DC socialite, all of it, and it was like, this, I'm not doing anything I want. Like, I don't feel fulfilled. It's not, I'm not a part of it. I'd rather just get by and do something that feels right to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is trite. And it sometimes takes getting there, but you're like, wow, money really isn't everything. I got there and I was like, wow, holy shit! It turns out that is correct.
Well, a big part about living in DC was living on less and being like, wait, I don't mind peanut butter and jelly for dinner.
Right.
Once every couple weeks. It makes sense. It works and it's affordable, and there's. If I can live on less, I can beat this system that always requires us to have more, especially with with having a kid and wanting to achieve, and you're supposed to have all of these signals that you're on the path, and it's like, well, if I avoid all of that, there's no headache involved with chasing a BMW payment. I don't want to chase a lease on a BMW fucking ever.
I listened to you on Champagne Sharks.
Yeah, okay.
And I was very when you talked about, I wasn't making much money, and then I started actually making money, and I got to this point where I'm like, I'm making more money than I ever thought I would make, but there is nothing else for you said other people.
There's almost no future in it, kind of. You're making all this money and you look down the path of I'm gonna buy this house and everything, but I don't know. There is something that it's tough to even put a finger on, but yeah, it's I don't know, if you're not making stuff that is exciting to you, and if you're... The other thing about making that kind of money is they know how much money you're making, and they'll, squeeze every bit of you for it.
But you're a useful person. Brian, I've always said that my skills in marketing or viral content or whatever it is would be very valuable to, a company on any of the coasts or whatever. And so... You can slot your way in and just be a smart guy that has the right answers and that can deliver the thing, and they'll give you enough money that you're like, why would I complain about this? It feels ridiculous to complain about this existence,
Also for me, we went through the Trump election, and I quit the job before Trump was elected, but even just doing the year of the election and doing all Trump jokes for the entire year, I was like, I cannot do this anymore.
Not my life.
I cannot do this.
How did I get here?
I can't make this my whole all day, every day doing this shit.
Yeah, I mean, you even just even the freedom to be able to talk about whatever you want.
That is something that is so huge. There was something early on at the Kimmel show, and it's not the biggest thing for me, but we'll talk shit about whatever I want to. But I wrote some joke. Okay, it was the day that that I think that the gay marriage became legal nationwide, and there were a lot of posts from everybody being deservedly, this is such a good day for everyone, what good news and everything. And then also on that day there was a news story that Jimmy Fallon cut his hand open on glass or something. And I did a post on Facebook. I was like, this is such a wonderful day, it's such a good day for everyone, and I linked the story with Fallon getting his hand cut open, and the fucking producer of the Kimmel show sent me an email being you can't post this stuff. It was on Facebook. It wasn't even on Twitter. That was a very small early on thing where I was like, I just am not my own man. You do trade in a lot. You're trading in a lot for the money.
For sure.
Anyway, thank you for saying that nice thing about Complicated.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I love what you guys do. I mean, I just wanted to say, with comedy especially, I feel like comedy has made huge leaps with as far as like integrating politics into it in like a smooth way. Like it's like you guys don't even have to be inherently political with what you're talking about, but I feel like it's just like I enjoy the media that I'm consuming more so than stuff that I look back on as just like either void of politics or just like kind of cringy politics.
Yeah, there's a lot of cringy politics out there for sure.
Brett said one time to me, like when we were kind of adjusting the material of the show after, like when we decided to make it our thing, it was like, okay, we can't do what Chapo's doing. We can't do what the District Sentinel Radio guys are. What can we do that they don't do? And he said to me really early, because I was like worried about getting away from politics. Like I was like, should we get away from politics, like horse race stuff?
Yeah.
And he said, he was basically like, everything we do drips with politics. You don't have to talk about the normal stuff, because all you have to do is like, you have an overriding, we have like a philosophy over our show that makes it so it's political when it's not. It tries to be political when it's not being political.
A lot of this stuff, like, frankly, like, comes from ideology, you know what I mean? Versus, like, a lot of what you see on television is kind of like, I don't know, I did it. It's like, there are certain joke formats that work for each of the sort of political characters, and that's kind of how they do it. Versus this, where it's like, this is just what you actually believe and what is your ideology, and so it kind of just is part of whenever you're talking about anything else. Like, I think that what it comes to is that you actually have belief, unlike a lot of what you see on television.
That's what makes a difference, too, and that's what makes it, like, when y'all talk about, like, pop culture stuff, it hits in a way that comes from a place where, like, Brian and I acknowledge that people watch Zero Dark 30, and that is the history of the Bin Laden assassination. To them, that is the story of it. So we like have to dive into that stuff and also accept it, and then figure out how to what is tangled up in all of that. How is that informing everything else that's around us? That's why these people that I'm around are frustrating me, is because they are listening. They are also, just drenched in that culture,
right?
Of the media
we
stuff.
We talked about 24, the TV show 24,
Hey, look,
where it has warped people's brains to think that that's the situation that we're in all the time.
I think the season of 24 is the most fucked up, is when it starts on like an Arab family, like in Valencia, and for the first 3 episodes, it's like, what a normal family, and then they just are terrorists.
The kid
is secretly a terrorist,
and he's a terrorist because his best friend, who's white, mispronounces his name
all the time.
It's not Ahmed, it's Ahmed.
And then that's like, that for me is like even realizing when you talk to people that aren't like kind of in our circle and stuff, that like their politics are kind of formed by Jimmy Kimmel. I had this conversation recently about Joe Biden. I think part of the reason he's the front runner is because of the image of him that The Onion created.
I think they say that too. The guy who created that image for him, like, wrote an op-ed recently being like, I fucked up in doing that, and like, this does not represent who Joe Biden is.
And the thing is, that changed how we talked about how liberals, at least, have talked about politicians since.
Yeah.
Because they do the same shit with Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, and even Hillary Clinton too, where it's like they're not just these boring old people. They're like cool and hip and like all the gifts of black women you use. Right. That's how they are so totally are, and all this shit.
And
like,
Nancy Pelosi's being sarcastic.
Nancy Pelosi, all that shit. Like, that really fucked up. Like, Obama being cool and allowing that cool to trickle down to fucking square ass, cop ass, bitch ass Joe Biden fucked us over immensely.
Yeah, true. That's another part. I mean, that is the other thing you have to tap into, is how much that culture has informed what we do, and like people that just accept that is like, that's the candidate, is whichever one is the coolest, right?
Whichever one we decide is the coolest, is the most like Harry Potter.
Yeah. All right, and let's be frank, like, honestly, the people that do this entertainment, and I know you want to move on, do hang out with these politicians. You mentioned Jimmy Kimmel like informing people's politics. He like has dinner with Joe Biden. He like told us all he went to dinner with Joe Biden, and that like made me feel weird.
And it made him excited.
It's exciting for him and his wife, and they come in and they're like, "How exciting! We went to dinner with Joe Biden," and I'm like, I think that's strange that he wanted to go to dinner with you. To be honest with you,
it was like, I remember when Parks and I used to watch Parks and
she
Rec
was
with
on
my
that.
wife. She was a big fan of Parks and Recreation, right? And there was one night, and it wasn't Joe Biden actually. It was Newt Gingrich. That when they showed Newt Gingrich on there, and they were like, "This is just a cute guy, like Newt Gingrich doing a cute little bit at a table with Leslie
like
Knope."
that.
I was like, "I can't. I'm not gonna watch this anymore."
Yeah, most infamous Newt Gingrich is like for hating like women more than anyone in the 90s. Like he just hated women.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, caller. Did you have something you wanted to get in here before we walk all over you?
No, I mean, I'm satisfied with that conversation. That was awesome.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank
we
you so much.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
good talking to you.
Do you
Thanks
got a
for calling.
Twitter or a
Thanks.
small business you're trying to get started?
A small business.
Yeah, I do actually.
Everybody does.
Follow me on Instagram at Wonderbooks and at Wonderwares. That's my shit.
Oh, I have one.
Oh yeah, I got one. Yeah,
have one
for
of those.
writing comedy sets. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so that's my thing.
All
Yeah,
right.
cool shit. I love that.
So,
Go get it. They're good.
thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
I
Yeah,
love
Newt
it.
Gingrich was on
Tough
Parks
choice,
and
yeah.
Recreation.
That's
He
so wild.
talked to Jerry. Like Jerry on the show is like the character.
Yeah, he's like dowdy and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean that, and it's like we do have to like you know, I was around a lot of people that were well-to-do and on the upward swing and dual income, no kids, and all that stuff in Dallas and DC and things like that, and that really for them, those people are just a part of the party. It's like, oh, this cranky old Newt, you know, him is just like he's making those kids, you know, work after school to get their lunch money.
I
you
think
know,
also for
like-
a lot of the TV shows, they just look at it like how they would look at booking anyone.
Yeah.
They're like, this person has a high Q score. That would
Yeah.
be like a good booking for
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah,
How
like
exciting.
Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like how exciting. And it's like they're all, I mean, that's what
and,
it really
and like in a way, it's like I don't want to. It's like you don't want to be the person that like tears it all down because you can see how it's enjoyable. Then you have to remind them that it's like, but wait, these people are like really like
Well,
the
that's-
monsters. These are the enemies.
that's
These are the
real life
folks.
evil,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. These people have made decisions that we should be excommunicating
Yeah,
them from
yeah.
society.
I agree with that.
All right, let's see who our next caller is and what they got to say. Thanks for calling Street Fight Struggle Sesh. Who we talking to tonight?
Hey, Brad. Hey, Brian. Hey, everybody. It's Haley from New Jersey.
Howdy.
What's up, Haley? How's it
How's it
going
going?
tonight?
Good.
wait,
First off,
our
let me say
admin?
Thank you both. Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, this is the model. If you go to store.streetfightradio.com, our wonderful first pick that shows up on Google and Facebook ads, Haley is the model for the Guys, Gals, and
It's
Non-Binary
true.
Pals tee.
And it's like my favorite shirt that I own now. It's like stupid soft. I
It's
can't
so
even
soft.
express
It's
how
such a
soft
good
it is.
shirt, and like the printing is electric. It's a great shirt.
Yeah. I'm debating on whether or not, because I got a new tattoo, and I really want to wear that shirt like as much as I can, and it gets really hot right now, even in like late August up here. I'm debating on whether or not I want to cut the sleeves and turn it into some kind of like muscle tank and just really go full butch with it, but
I've recently
I haven't
discovered
decided
sleeveless
yet.
shirts.
That's fun.
I'm a sleeveless shirts guy.
Oh, wow. I'm not brave enough. I really am
I
not.
just got that brave this year. I had Brett.
I see Connor Golden is always wearing the sleeveless shirts, and
He's
I'm like,
young.
I can't
He's like
do it.
19.
I know.
I'm-
I
I
can't
can get away
do
with it.
I have been pumping iron. I can't be reckless enough to cut the shirt off. What I do is I get a seam ripper and I detach the
Oh, you
sleeve
really
from the
go all the way.
inside
Wow.
so that there's no like fraying or loose ends or
Do you
anything
ever
like
reconnect them?
that. No. Once they're gone, they're gone.
I
Yeah.
cut the sleeves off of a come and go shirt that I got when I was
Smart.
on tour because it's like, who cares? I didn't wear it ever anyway, and it was just a joke. And then I cut the sleeves off of another shirt that I had with a cowboy on it, which I figured like a cowboy, that's very powerful.
Sure.
And then Brett ordered shirts and asked me if I wanted one, and I was like, get me the tank top.
Wow.
Now here's the issue. I don't want to wear it. Like I've worn it once.
Yeah, you look like Big Ass Billy, don't you?
I think if I look, yes, it's extremely Ohio. Like all I need is a Mountain Dew in my hand.
Yeah.
While I'm out walking and be yelling at somebody,
Yeah.
at like my wife on the street.
Yeah.
It really sells the Ohio-ness of me when I wear that shirt. You know,
But it's comfy.
it is.
It has an anti-war message on it too.
It does. It's a
Death
cool
Tr-
shirt. I
check
should have
out
got
the-
the t-shirt though, because like you said, I know that like people that listen to the show are like, Brian's a fucking hillbilly, or Brian's a redneck guy. You know what I mean? Oh, he's proud of being like this redneck idiot. And it's like, but I am still running away from being a redneck idiot.
You're not shirt off all the time.
Coastal elites, you know, but little do they know.
Still trying to run away from it while still like sort of being like, okay, I embrace it. I embrace who I was and who I am, but still, I don't want people to like immediately look at me and be like, I gotta cross the street sort of situation.
You don't have any tattoos. You don't have any like green tattoos to show off either.
I don't have any tattoos.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. The other reason I wanted to talk here was, so it's my birthday a couple of days ago.
Happy B-Day.
Also known as the day David Koch died.
Ooh, what a gift. What a gift, yes.
Great birthday present, yeah. So I turned 25, but it's been a pretty good week after a couple of really bad ones. So my hours are actually back up at work, and I went from getting out-of-state tuition to in-state tuition at my grad school, so now I'm getting more money back.
Great. Love money.
So I can afford rent and food and stuff.
Oh, I love it.
And on top of all that...
The nice shit, that bougie shit.
Yeah. You know, and on top of all that, I actually just got published in a book. The contract was signed and my chapter's been approved, so... Yeah, book's called, it's an academic textbook, so forgive the name. But it's called Denial, the Final Stage of Genocide, and we're talking about different subject matters within the field of genocide studies. I submitted a paper.
Anything about white genocide.
Yeah. I think it would be also...
Everybody asks this question.
It sounds like a good sci-fi trilogy as well.
No, it's funny. It's funny that you said anything about white genocide. I can conclusively tell you that as a genocide scholar, it does not exist.
Oh, that's
wow. Did the work.
I've been hearing from like some other people.
Yeah, some of my Facebook
online.
I'm gonna send you some YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think maybe you're in a liberal bubble.
I met a couple people. I met a couple people that have Trump 6. They're on a Facebook group.
Somebody told me Josh Barnett, a fighter.
Yeah, I know
used to be a pro wrestler, rails against critical theory every day. And I'm like, do you think he has ever read like one word of critical theory in his entire life?
He's a big Warhammer 40K guy. Like, that's what he does. He's read, like, one person called Warhammer 40K fascist, and that, like, turned him off critical gender theory or whatever.
Yeah. See, it's funny. Like I'm like at the front of the field because I'm the only one in the history of the field of genocide studies, which has been around since like the early '80s, to do anything on like trans people. Mainly because I'm trans myself, but also, you know, cis people, which dominate most everything, don't tend to write about us. And when they do, it's really objectifying and almost like we're objects of like study and not like actual people with like lived experiences. You know, so that's been a kind of a terrible thing to have to deal with. But so I initially was getting some pushback there, but the president of my field's society, so it's the International Association of Genocide Scholars, has read my work, and he called it the most important contribution in 20 years. So that was...
yeah, congratulations. That's why we need a soundboard with applause.
I mean, I have my own podcast. I have like my own really great podcast.
I love it. Brian's feeling threatened right now. Brian's feeling a little bit threatened right now.
I'll say this. I'd rather have the podcast. Because they don't pay me for this paper, and I don't. In academic publishing, you don't get any royalties or anything like that. So
you can't sell shirts.
It's not like I.
Yeah. Get a Teespring. Get a Teespring or something.
You can sell genocide shirts.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. To close it off, I think the last thing is like the worst part about the field that I study though is that I can't talk about it with anybody. Like I'm in a bunch of different groups, but I hang around mostly with the moderators of the Facebook group, you know, that we're all in, and then also like the Chapo folks. And every time I try to talk about genocide, somebody's always like, "Oh boy, here we go again." And it's like, dog, y'all can sit here and have a conversation about whatever like Overwatch character you're talking about, but God forbid I get really serious and talk about something that interests me, you know? Man,
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
No, that's bullshit.
It's the worst possible topic.
No, if you ante up, it's on them to like listen. It's on them to like be for it. Like fuck that.
Right?
Don't be weak.
Right?
Deal with genocide.
Deal with genocide.
You fucking here.
Sit and listen.
I think you can sell it. Sell it as like true crime, just on like a massive scale. Like yo, you like that fucking Ted Kaczynski shit? Well, what if it was like a whole country doing it?
Wow.
Like 100,000 Ted Bundys.
Yeah, we're gonna put you in the street fight creative workshop group so we can get this thing rolling for you.
Yeah.
We'll get this thing into podcast shape.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I want this.
Oh God, a podcast called Genocides that is just like somebody that would sit down at work and be like, "Oh yeah, just listen to I just marathon binge 9 episode of Genocides." Because I hear what people listen to. Like, there are a lot of people that listen to a lot of those history podcasts.
Oh, sure.
And, like, I hear about it, and I'm like, how do you, like, even handle that? Like, I need to laugh or something. I'm too crazy for hardcore history.
I know. I like hardcore history.
Really?
Hardcore history does, whenever he talks, I haven't heard it, but anytime somebody talks about war on a podcast, I'm like, those are real people that died. And then I get depressed. And then I can't listen to it.
What's like you're like
hardcore history guy. There's a little bit of he likes it a little too much.
Well, yeah, no, you're in the middle of you're at like some sort of summer party, and a person is like, well, actually, a couple 100,000 people had to die from the bomb because millions others would have died, and it's like, why are you bargaining lives? Like, why are you thinking about bargaining the lives of other people while you're working?
What the hardcore history guy does, he'll actually get the journals of like the people who are in like the fucking bunkers at World War I, where they stacked the bodies up when they ran out of sandbags, and they would shake the hand of the dead guys that were sticking out.
Yeah,
and there were so many flies that looked like a blanket.
Yeah,
that's the sort of thing he would get into. So I'm not. So I think
it's
maybe hardcore genocide may be able to work.
I agree. I agree.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, at least in this hypothetical podcast, I won't claim to like be telling history or talking about an event in a nonpartisan way. Like, that's the biggest problem I have with that podcast.
Yeah.
Is that he's a libertarian.
Right.
And he likes to pretend that he's not talking about history in a way that's political. But here's the thing, like, not to sound like too much of an academic, but you can't do that. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah. Open up our minds.
The way he tries to like play both sides of the equation. I will say the one thing he actually is good at is like relatively anyway. On the war on the Eastern Front thing that he did when they were talking about like the Germans invading the Soviet Union during World War II. He was a little bit like, these poor Nazis were just surrounded.
And it wasn't very fair to the Nazis.
People, but see, it's weird because he'll talk like that, and then there's like a side podcast, like his hardcore history addendum thing that somebody pointed out to me because I didn't even know this existed up until like 3 months ago. He like just unequivocally like shut down somebody's question about the Nazis being left wing. So he's this weird kind of guy. Like on the main podcast, he'll be a little less gung ho about both siding or not. About being dismantling any sort of argument that's pro-Nazi. But on the podcast, the side thing that like literally nobody listens to, unless you've just got somebody with absolutely no time on your hand, with amount of time on your hands, then he'll say it, but it's only been one time, and I know he's talked about the Nazis on other times, and it's really weird. He's a really weird guy, I'm sorry, but a 5-hour podcast episode's a little ridiculous. So I put that to the part, man. Come on.
I do have to agree with that. You know,
Shout outs to Dan Carlin. Split those episodes up.
Split them up, Dan.
We can do 5 tonight, maybe. Well, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, rocking and rolling.
We're
We're lifting the veils off of these sheeples, right? They're
I
listening to
have- I
hardcore
have
history and
listened-
think it's not political. It is.
Yeah.
I've listened to a 5-hour podcast my arch enemy David Bixenspan hosts.
Oh,
Ooh, really?
Called Between the Sheets, where he just talks about the wrestling news for a week.
Yeah.
In history. 5 to 6 to 8 hours sometimes.
Yeah,
but
it's
then
like-
when he came after me, I was like, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, with the wrestling podcast, like it's like the smaller your audience is, the longer you think the show needs
Yeah,
to be.
yeah.
Always.
Yeah, you gotta dig in for the hardcores. That's the only people that are paying your bills. All right, let's see who's up next on here. We're not in speed round territory next. I think we can get this thing rolling and get everyone taken care of.
Time.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
What is up, Brett and Brian and Leslie and Jack? What's up?
You did it. You got the names right. You didn't call them the other guys.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so I actually have kind of a bummer of a story.
Typical.
I actually I was recently fired on Friday.
Oh, that sucks.
After I've been there for 3 years.
Ooh.
This is Steve from. I did not introduce myself, by the way. Sorry.
You're fine. Steve from Houston?
Anyway, Steve from Kansas.
Kansas. Sorry.
Steve from Lawrence, Kansas, right on. Anyway, so I recently lost my job of 3 years to basically the way they tried to get rid of me was very humorous because they definitely made it clear that they were lying. So basically, I just get told to go upstairs and talk to the general manager, and she shows me this video of me checking a customer out. And so in the video, I place a bag of beans on the scale.
Right.
It falls over. I pick it up and put it back on the scale, and reweigh it just like normal. So what they tried to do while they showed me the video is they tried to pause it right when the bag fell over, and they while the video was still playing, they said, "What are you doing? What are you doing there? Are you you're sorting a customer on?"
Oh no!
And the video was still playing. The video is still playing, and I point out, look, I actually put the beans back on and weighed it correctly.
Yeah, I spilled all those beans all over the fucking place and redid it.
And immediately, the HR guy, who is also present, just blows up and says, "You know what? I'm not going to argue this with you. I want you gone."
Okay. What the fuck? This is crazy because last week we had a guy that worked at a place for a few years, and they called him in the office and they fired him because they said they didn't like his beard.
They said it was against policy to have a beard.
This guy just
that was
beat
policy
beard
at
guy.
Disneyland before too long.
Yeah.
Until a year
But
ago
they
or
didn't
something.
say anything to him. In the run-up, they just called him in one day and said, "Your beard's too long. You're out of
You
here."
gotta go.
This guy beat beard guy.
Bean
Wow.
guy and beard
Fired
guy.
him for being beard guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, and also, I guess, and this is just a guess for me, that, those HR guys get so keyed up before they're about to fire you.
Yeah.
That they're just ready to fucking go.
They're not going to
anyway.
take any shit.
Yeah.
This dude is pretty high energy, all the time. And I worked for a co-op, actually. Merck Co-op in Lawrence, Kansas.
I've met you. In person.
Yes, that's right.
In Kansas City.
Yeah. That's right. That was an awesome show. Would love to have you again. So that was a real fiasco because apparently everyone found out about that, and apparently they're not allowed to talk about it, I guess, in something or other. But the thing is, so the HR guy, he always has this positive attitude. and apparently he will, like, if he ever has to kick somebody out or fire somebody, apparently he just gets mad and will cut people off.
Okay.
He tends to kind of be that's the thing is, like,
It's just gonna go his way. He's just basically like he's made the decision. He doesn't have to deal with somebody that makes like makes an objection that would be valid. He doesn't want to have to deal with all the other stuff. He's like, I don't care. I'm sure it probably sucks for you. I'm just going to make it happen for me. It's a Band-Aid thing.
Right.
Like, it's a guy that read the books, right?
Yeah.
The management books.
Yeah.
Like you can
black belt negotiation.
Right. You can kind of like sniff them out at times because there are like these certain tricks where it's like we talked about this on the show last week where they're like, if somebody brings up their personal life when asking for a raise, you should deny it. You should never bring up it's not fair, I guess, to the HR person to bring up your personal life. So
it's not right. Just not right.
Not fair. You're
don't
eating
say that.
Popcorn for dinner. Your kids are eating popcorn for dinner.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
You know?
Not my problem.
I feel for you. I feel for you. Now you're probably gonna not get to work at a co-op. Now it's that is
probably not get to work like anywhere for probably a while because they class staff, and they've also denied me unemployment for the next 3 years. Basically, I can't actually even apply for unemployment for the next 3 years in the state of Kansas. This is how the right to work law kind of work basically, and that's pretty shitty. So I'm like basically in a very shitty place right now, economically, I guess. So that's basically like the long and short of it. And so, that's basically been like, what I've just been dealing with for the last couple of days. I've even put in some like apps and stuff like that, but I'm just like, I don't know if anyone's gonna fucking like call me back. So.
There's the thing is like, if it's just a small amount of money to get you through, you know that there are like little things that you can walk in and just get, and that's kind of, that's how I handled it when I got out of college. It was like I couldn't do street fight for a living, didn't want to get a real job like where I would be stuck doing it, and then it would keep me from being able to do the touring and shit like that. So I went and got a job making $8.50 an hour. Just, I know that's not enough money and it sucks to make that kind of money. But there are places, and that's the way I always thought of it when I worked there too. It's like there are places that will pay you shitty, but the job is worth nothing, and you can just fucking leave if they bother you. You know what I mean? And get another.
Right, yeah. I've had those jobs before, including one of those desk jobs that y'all were talking about, just a do nothing desk job. It was actually a pretty nice job, and the people there were actually really cool, but you were subject to furloughs all the time, like everyone was. You basically was like, well, there's no work, so come back in like 2 weeks. So you just wouldn't get hours for 2 weeks.
Been there. I will tell you this. I have definitely, I've been in your situation, and it feels scary, like the whole world is coming crashing down, but something that, like, you just got to think, like, you know, you can do this. Like, you can get through something like this. Like, it's not impossible, and like, you know, just keep pushing. Just push for. There's gonna be something out there, and it's probably gonna be better than what you had. I leveled up every time I lost a job, even if I fired. I got fired. I basically.
And honestly, if a job is gonna pull some shit like that on you, it's like maybe not best to be there. Like,
they're gonna pull it eventually.
Eventually, it's gonna happen to people there. You know.
Just a bummer. It's a co-op.
It is a bummer. That was the wrinkle to the story that I was like. That was the sort of Tales from the Crypt twist there.
Those sort of do. Me and Brett performed at a co-op in Milwaukee once, and I went there to visit, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the co-op, right? Like, I want to go to that co-op that we performed at, and like, you know, we'll buy my wife a beer because she drinks, and she can drink the beer, and we'll support the co-op." And I talked to a guy that lives there, and he's like, that place ain't the same co-op. I think co-ops, and there are a lot of co-ops that corporatize themselves because they feel like that's the only way to compete with.
This one did corporate. Yeah. The Merc did corporatize, I think, back in a few years ago. Years ago with NCG. Yeah.
The one here was run by like the one here was run by like hippies, and they wouldn't corporatize, and it's not here anymore. It just went away, you know. It's also in this neighborhood, which is unfortunately like one of those neighborhoods that like if you're a business they don't want, they just get the fuck out of here. Columbus is a really rough place when it comes to like development because they desperately want to be a city that people come to visit. And it's like, no, people will never tour here. People will never say, I'm going to take the weekend and I'm going to go to Columbus, Ohio. There's no way.
I saw when I was at the airport that you guys were ranked #1 Midwest city by Business Magazine.
Right, yeah, that's real good for us as people, too. Like, but it is like...
Eventually you'll have to live here, but like you're never going to want a vacation here. You're never going to want a vacation here.
Saying to me earlier, they were like, you know... people are going to have to end up moving in. Like, Columbus could end up being the next New York City. But that's because New York is underwater.
You don't want to be New York.
Well, I mean, if you live in a city like this, or like any of these kind of... Indianapolis is probably the same way. Like, Detroit is not the same way because they've had their ups and downs or whatever. Yeah. But, like, if you live in a city like this... It's like this weird delusional thing where there's people constantly convincing themselves that we can be the next Seattle in the 90s. Yeah. We could be the next Austin, Texas. What's so special about Austin, Texas?
Austin, Texas isn't even what people think Austin, Texas.
Austin is like fucked up now.
Yeah.
It really is bad.
Yeah. But, and like, so they'll tear down. I mean, here... This city's 200 years old, and all the buildings were built in like 1987. You know, like, it's like they knock everything down that looks interesting and all. That's why it's so mind blowing and shit for me. I loved LA so much because it didn't look like we go to city after city after city after city, and LA, and this is a compliment. This is not negative. Looks kind of junky to me.
Yeah, LA is like kind of big and sprawled out. And shitty.
Yeah.
There's not enough time to keep it all up.
And there's so much of it. It's like there's just too many wide swaths. Like you go through whole blocks where it just like sucks. It's just a nothing block.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like
I like that though.
I kind of do too.
That's why I like Philly too. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right.
Philly
wait,
looks...
well, one quick.
Oh,
right
go
quick.
ahead.
Is it cool if I go ahead and so I want to go ahead and plug my Twitch because I mean I do that since I'm gonna have a whole lot of time on my hands anyway.
Oh hell yeah!
That's awesome.
Yeah, be proud of your craft. You're a worker.
Yeah, Twitch is great.
Kansas Beach Patrol is my Twitch handle. Play games. I make games. I make music. I make art. And since I'm gonna be a little low on funds, my Venmo and Cash App are also the same thing. Kansas Beach Patrol. Please help me out.
All right, twitch.tv/Kansas Beach Patrol. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. So far, so good. We got enough calls. I think we're going to come in before midnight. I think we can get everything in here. Let's see what the next person has to say. You ready to do this?
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. Who are we talking to?
Hey, what's up? This is Terry.
Hey, Terry. How's it going?
Terry.
Hey, how's it going?
How you spell that, Terry? How you spell it? How you spell Terry?
That's with a Y.
With a Y. Okay.
With a Y. All right.
So this will be a good follow-up. You know, much sympathy and solidarity with the last guy getting fired from the co-op. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
The reason I am calling in, and this is a good follow-up, is because my boss got fired.
Oh, that's great news. That's really good news. That's why we need the applause soundboard.
Yep. So, you know, this was the hands down the worst boss I've ever had, and I have had. Hang on, let me take you off speaker here. I have had some shitty fucking bosses,
sure.
But you know, she was a bully. She would, anytime there was a problem, she was making personal attacks. She once made a fat joke at my expense. You know, she's just a tyrant. You know, this was not someone who is a leader. Not even like someone with management skills. Like all she knew how to be was just a fucking boss.
Yeah.
You do shit because I tell you to do it.
Right. Push somebody around.
You know, Exactly. Just, in super shitty politics, fucking fascist. She immigrated from the Soviet Union when she was like a kid. So, she knew everything about how shitty anything on the left was because she lived it, and there was really nothing to ever say in response to that.
That's just like how I know a bunch of stuff when I was a little kid. I was like, hey, that's why I am who I am. I was a little kid during the Reagan years, and I just remember being seven.
I lived in Los Angeles during the riots. And I was like 6 years old, and so I'm of course an expert.
When I was 6 years old, I was like, this Reagan, this conservatism is sick to me. I hate it. This is gross. So when I developed all my opinions, and just kept them that way forever. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and she was stealing money out of my pocket for 6 months because I came on when they hired me, and this was I was doing marketing stuff at a nonprofit, and they brought me on as a contractor because they had some kind of turnover and they wanted to have this 3-month probationary thing as a contractor where they decide whether or not to bring me on. And then I got to the end of the 3 months and I was in this limbo where I couldn't get the meeting scheduled where we would discuss, what was going on with my status. So after 6 months back in June, they finally brought me on full time. Except I was on some bullshit probationary status again.
What?
Supposedly for like another 3 months where they needed to decide whether or not it was going to work out or whether they were going to keep me. But then at the end of July, one of our board members came into the office, and this was past quitting time. This was like 7 o'clock, so it was just like me and like the number 2 guy at the company that was there. And she came in, this board member, and she was like, hey, do you know anything about a board meeting that's going on here? I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be. I'm like, oh, let me see if the boss is still here. She would know something about that. And this board member was like, oh, actually, she wouldn't know anything about this.
Interesting.
Wow.
Exactly. And me and the guy who was like the number 2, after she walked away, just kind of exchanged a look. I was like, well, that was ominous. He goes, that was very ominous. And it turned out they were having the meeting at this company across the street where one of the other board members is some boss. So they were having a secret off-site board meeting that the boss was not invited to. So the whole I could barely sleep that night. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to find out. Like, did she get fired tonight? Like, what's going on? And so come in the next day, no news. And it's like, well, maybe that was really nothing. Maybe this was a false alarm. The following Monday, she calls this sudden, unexpected staff meeting. And she announces, and the chair of the board comes into this meeting. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like when the chair walked in, and she announces that she is moving back to Florida, that she has decided to leave. She's going to miss us all so much, but I'm an island girl. I said, island girl? What the fuck are you talking about?
She was in the mirror all night long just practicing saying, I'm an island girl.
Yeah.
I've always been an island girl.
I'll say this.
Did she cry?
This is something I've learned from doing Street Fight.
No, she did not cry.
Oh, good. That's impressive.
This is something I've learned from doing Street Fight. So chicken shit for them to have like the secret meeting and go to the other building and talk shit about. Like I hear so many stories about like, well, yeah, there was a meeting at work and then everybody went to it except for me. And then you're like,
there's a lot of institutionalized shit talking.
Yeah,
that's true. Like shit talking by institution, like by design.
There was one Wednesday I showed up to a job and they were like, man, Brett, we just had a meeting and like they're gonna fire you on Friday.
They just like convene a meeting. They're like, "Hey, come on! Like everybody talk shit. Like,
hey, Brett won't
talk shit."
They're like, "Well, Brett won't be here," and they're like, "Ooh, what does that mean?"
Is that in Texas?
Yeah, that was in Texas.
That's right, because Brett asked for more money.
Yeah,
it's an amazing story where Brett said, "I noticed you're bringing in this much." and I'm making you this much.
Yeah.
But and then got fired a few days later.
It did. Yeah.
So
my replacement showed up.
That's as good as saying you want to quit. If you do
Right.
something like that.
If you start asking for money, it's like, if you ask for more money, it's like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore.
at a small business, you can never like.
Yeah.
Don't mention. They're like, "What do you know about my accounts?" Which,
That's
by the way,
true, that's true.
By the way, you don't know what they're fucking doing, which is the
Yeah.
other risk of working at a small business because them motherfuckers can just close.
Yeah, I think
One
I'm
day,
like,
we just don't have any money. We can't run the store another day.
yeah.
Okay, so 2 days after that, right? She came up on the elevator with a coworker who wasn't in this meeting where she told us that she's going to. And she's going to be leaving at the end of the month, and then the new boss is going to come in 2 weeks after this meeting. So she was going to stay on, and then the new boss was going to take over, and then she was going to continue staying on for another 2 weeks after that for some kind of transitional period or something to help with, institutional knowledge, some sort of a soft landing, soft transition. So 2 days after that, she comes up the elevator with a coworker who was not at the meeting on Monday, and someone I had called after the meeting to tell her, this big news. And so after she gets off the elevator with this coworker, she comes into my office. And she just fucking lights into me. I had no idea what's going on. She'd been after me for a while. She comes into my office and she goes, "Who gave you the fucking authority to tell other employees that I'm going to be leaving?"
I love it. I love it.
Flabbergasted. Clearly told on herself that this was not her idea.
Hey, how are you going to go around and tell people that I was going to be leaving?
That I'm going to decide soon to move to Florida.
You told people I was an island girl before I revealed it myself.
The denial in her mind must be fucking. It must be incredible.
Yeah,
it must be incredible what's going on in her head.
It feels better to lash out than to like live in what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm speechless. And she goes, "Do you have any intelligence whatsoever?" And I'm like, hey, I just told one person, and that was a fucking lie. But
Sure.
And she goes, "And who gave you the fucking authority?" I said, "Look, I'm sorry. It was big news." She goes, "Exactly."
See, but this is like,
grow up, Terry.
I think that I have been a part of these moments in lives, and instead of like thinking myself as like being yelled at or victimized, like I've been like the foil to someone's like giant tragedy. Like this is the build up for everything. They get to tell somebody off, and I'm the one that's sitting there like I don't know what you're talking about. Like exactly, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. You never did, and you're just like, okay, yeah. And it's like scream your hate at me, like just heap it on, fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna just clock out. And
sometimes it's fun to be like the supporting character.
it is, and it's like
story.
if you can slot yourself into a side character and soak it up.
Myself in someone else's third act.
I'm so ashamed of myself, but now that you're leaving, I'm gonna just live in complete dread.
We know she's at her island home now.
Island
villa, hating, like talking shit about you right now.
Yeah,
So I'm on red alert at this point because there is nothing holding her back. As far as I can see, from firing me before she hits the exits. So I am, walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks after this meeting, and
a meeting.
One thing that kept me going through all of this was I realized I'm the marketing guy, right? I am going to get to delete her as an admin from our Facebook page. And that is going to be so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
And this was sustaining me for 2 weeks. And that Friday, I'm trying to continue doing a good job, as I would anyway. But I'm trying to get these brochures printed because we've got to get these out ASAP, so people can start giving us money. And so I end up staying there on a Friday night until 5:30 a.m. the next day.
Oh, Jesus.
Getting these fucking brochures printed in order to do a bulk mailing over the weekend. And then I came back in at 10 a.m. the next day to work with some volunteers I had rounded up to get them folded and shit and ready to mail out. And she didn't say a word of acknowledgement to the fact that I had worked a 20-hour day. No word of thanks. And the following Wednesday, which this was like a week and a half ago now at this point, she just fucking is dragging me in the staff meeting, just going over every way in which, like, I have disappointed her, every deadline that I missed because I had to put everything else on the back shelf to get these brochures out the door. And she's just dragging me in this meeting. I finally get out of it, and I start having these fucking chest pains like I have never experienced before.
That sucks.
I've never felt anything like this. Yeah. And so I'm coming back from the post office after getting these brochures out, and this is 3 hours later, and it's still happening. I'm like, did she give me a fucking heart attack? Like, I need to go get this checked out.
Yeah, she did like a 5-point death punch on you or something.
Yeah. So I spend the night in the hospital. This is the night before my birthday, as it turns out. And so the following day, I go to work. I go to work the next day after spending the night in the hospital because of how I was getting chewed out. Because we got to get this project done. We got to get these brochures out.
You're dedicated.
And I try. I'm lucky to have a job that I like and something that's meaningful and fulfilling to me. And this boss was like the worst part of it. She was the one thing that made my life hell. And so the following Friday, so I chilled out the next day. It was my birthday. I'm just trying to lay low. She knew what happened, so she wasn't fucking coming near me that day. And that Friday is her last day in power. And I ended up spending the entire day trying to get her fired and cut off this 2-week transition period. And
get her sent home early?
I ended up, yeah, exactly. So I spent the whole day trying to get her fired. I called board members. I knew some of the board. I let them know. I ended up having a call with the chair of the board, who's obviously extremely concerned. But she gave a bunch of bullshit about how, well, you can, with behavioral cognitive therapy, they can help you with this anxiety, and that if this happens again, you can tell them that you have anxiety attacks, and they won't have to go through quite the whole barrage of tests that ended up keeping you there all night. And I was like, I do not have an anxiety problem. I have a this boss problem. Yeah. And so so I was unsuccessful in trying to get her kicked out. But that Friday, as I'm doing all of this, I got to watch her pack up her office and move into this tiny little closet that was our accounting office. And the entire next week, it was just so fucking delicious to see her powerless, not able to do anything of being in charge. And, helping the new boss with this transition. But then tonight, and this is the reason I ended up calling in, I was on our Facebook, and I noticed that she had preemptively deleted herself as an admin.
No. Nice. She didn't give you the satisfaction.
Hey, you are.
She wouldn't let you. She's like, no, I quit, actually. I didn't get fired. I quit.
I'm on the island.
You're her enemy.
Last fucking time she stole my happiness.
That's island people. That's island life, you know?
You got to understand.
Carefree. They're just going to go where they have to go. They're like birds. They got to be free.
Right. I might see her at the office tomorrow. I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Tell her to sign back up as an admin on the Facebook.
Like, I need you to actually, you're required to.
We need you to be an admin on the page for the last day.
That's what Kyrie told me to do in the Facebook group.
To complete your contract and get your final paycheck, you're going to have to do a couple more Facebook posts. So I'm going to have you re-sign up as an admin. Well, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
And
we doing good? We doing good?
Yeah, some people jumped in at the end. They might get dropped off.
Yeah,
but
we
it's
got
fine.
25 minutes.
We got 2 to go. We got 2 people that have been sitting for a while. I think we can make it happen.
Let's get them done, man.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hell yeah, boys. This is Mississippi Willie. What's up?
Hey, Mississippi Willie. How's it going?
Mississippi
What's
Willie.
up? Hey, how's it going?
That's Mississippi
Oh,
Willie.
good.
Mississippi Willie.
He's a sweetie. What's up, Mississippi Willie?
It's
What are
been
you
a
up
long
to?
time. It's been a long time. I figured I see how y'all doing.
Yeah, I want to know from you, how's the show been going so far? What are your thoughts on it? You've been listening. I really cherish your opinion.
Good. I listen to it every week. I always hear it at work.
Good.
I'm a little sad I didn't get to come see y'all in Nashville, but
Yeah,
things just happened.
I really regret not giving you the VIP treatment. We could have got you a limousine and brought you there. I really want you to come to the show and just sit on the side and let us know how it's going. Like, you can give us a critique as we're doing it.
Mississippi Willie, you'll see us live someday. We're gonna make it happen. I have to look.
I know. I hope so.
I have to go down near Mississippi. Like, the reason probably we haven't gone there is because it would probably be on a tour that involves New Orleans that I'm not gonna sign up for.
Maybe St. Louis.
Yeah, I wouldn't go
I've
there
never-
either if I were you, honestly.
St. Louis is another motherfucker. I guess. I mean, you know,
Kansas City?
The worst experience. One of the worst live experiences was St.
Really?
Louis. Yeah, we went to a. People were like, "You guys got to do this bar, man. It's called Propaganda." They use old Soviet propaganda, and it had like a hammer and sickle outside, and they were playing like Soviet stuff inside. And we fucking got to the venue, and Brett walked up to talk to him about like where we were gonna be for performing, and they were like, "Do you like have a PA or anything?" Like, they didn't have any sound equipment.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
So we had
wild.
to,
It was pretty wild.
We had to get a hold of the local IWW brought us a
my
PA,
God.
and we set it up. But like,
They're like protesting rig, like the one they go when they're going to like raise hell in the streets.
Wow.
Like, we borrowed that to do the show.
they also would not close the doors. Like, so they wouldn't
Yeah, they
run
didn't want-
a door guy. They didn't want people charging the cover to get in.
Oh,
So
wow.
that makes it hard to get paid. And it also makes it so a bunch of people that aren't there for
Just
the
wander
show
in.
just wander in
Yeah.
and
Right.
sit at the bar and yell while the people that are trying to watch the
We're
show.
just interrupting their conversation, their good night out.
Interesting, sure.
So, yeah, thanks for calling in, Mississippi Willie. How are things?
Oh, good. I'm taking my stupid ass back to school. I start again tomorrow, so
You think you're going to get it right this time?
I hope so. Oh, God.
What are you trying to do?
You know, I don't know. I think I'll probably end up working in restaurants forever anyway, but I'm doing the poli-sci thing, so.
Well,
I mean, but if you're good at restaurants, you can really make a go of it, though.
Yeah, and you can break down
I hope
people's...
so. I'm going to have to figure out how to get out of Mississippi first, though, you know.
You just got to get an apartment. That's it. You just got to get an apartment and go.
Somewhere else.
the
An
thing
apartment
about-
in another place.
The thing about working in restaurants is, I guess it's probably hard to apply from, like, far away. You know, because they're not, like,
Yep.
flying you in to do...
Right, for sure.
you need
There's
a-
restaurant jobs everywhere.
Yeah, you need a
You
place.
Go get an apartment.
You need a place to crash, and then you need to be able to hit the bricks and like talk to people and say, "Hey, I can work on your restaurant
like a
tonight."
couple weeks or
yeah,
a month
like
of,
I can
like,
work in the
runway.
restaurant tonight, but you need like a couch to sleep on while you show up to restaurants and let them know that you're available.
Willie, there's a ton of
Well,
restaurants
there's
in
always
Columbus.
a Facebook group. I can ask somebody if I can live on their couch for a while.
We need to get a couch surfer network going for real.
Wow.
Tinder for couch surfing.
You know what killed couchsurfing.com?
What?
Fucking Airbnb.
Yeah.
It did?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really big deal. There was
Yeah.
that site that was people were getting free trips across the country with.
Yeah, now people just do Airbnb.
Airbnb fucking sucks.
It really does.
I mean, like,
I like
even
it.
Just as like the experience, I hate it.
They've become, most of them just are hotels. So
Yeah.
it's like occasionally, sometimes you'll get one that's like a nice someone's house, and it's like, well, this is kind of cool. A lot of times it's just a property that's only used as Airbnb, and it's set up like a hotel. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
so what the fuck is the difference?
And
Well,
it's
we-
as
all
much
free
as a hotel.
towels.
We
and
had
it's
a-
different. It's a hotel.
Yeah, they don't have any of the amenities of a hotel, but we had a situation when we were on the tour where the cleaning people showed up at 10:30 a.m. and someone fired up the mower and started driving it around. And it was just, they were like, oh, sorry to do this, y'all. We don't normally have back-to-backs, but someone's coming later, so we need. And they're like, yeah, we're like, they're watching us carry our stuff. They're like, is that everything then? And it's like, I don't know. I need to do a last check still. It's 10:48. I still have this place at 10:48. You know,
their kid is out running around in the front yard and shit. It was so bad.
Yeah, he was mowing the lawn with his little baby, his little like grandson in his lap.
And then again, the other thing is we stayed in places that were for 10 people that were not.
No, they lied about what a bed is. They lied about what a bed is.
Yeah, there's a lot of bed lying. And two,
there's a lot of bed lying.
There's a lot of bed lying.
They would be like, we stayed in one place that didn't have, they have blankets for the beds, but no other blankets.
Yeah, nobody else.
No blankets.
That's worse than how I'm staying.
Yeah, and
some of these beds don't provide blankets.
right. 3 towels in one of them for 10 people.
Just unpack your suitcase on top of yourself and sleep underneath.
I know.
That.
It like that tour just broke me of like, I just like hotels. I'm just
they don't.
You know,
hotels are super expensive, but the Airbnbs just do not deliver.
And the Airbnbs suck because it's all like gentrification. Like the last time I couch surfed was actually with a guy in Philadelphia, and he took me to his building. He was like, "You see that apartment and that apartment and that apartment? Everybody on my hall is all Airbnb all the time."
Well, we went when we stayed in Raleigh. We found a place and we walked down the street to a place. There was Cookout or Bojangles. So like we want to go to Bojangles. While we're eating, some car bashes into another car and pushes them into the medium. When I jump up, this lady goes, he just hit him. And she jumps out of her seat. I get over to look. There's a guy that's pitching a rock at this like Dodge Challenger that's like driving away. On the way home, I gave out like $80 to guys that were just like, hey man, I need a little help tonight. Like I had a case of beer and I handed out like just beers and $20 bills to everybody. And it was all because this person thought it was going to be a good investment. And this fucking woman, her name is Clementine, she said that we left weed in her Airbnb and she was going to charge us a deep cleaning fee. And we were hanging out with like a half dozen weed fiends that would not leave a single crumb in that fucking place ever. I was so pissed. She said that we broke one of the doors and that we were left weed behind. But Airbnb couldn't charge us for it because it was just unfounded.
Yeah, and she just
I've heard a lot of stories about them doing that where they try to charge you for all kinds of shit after you leave.
It's a matter of whether or not you'll capitulate. Like I was like, that's crazy. That's not any of the thing that we were doing. I smoked weed outside every single time. I said, check your security cameras.
She said we have a trash can full of roaches, didn't she?
She said she found roaches outside in the dumpster. And it was like, yeah, those were outside ones. We weren't smoking inside.
Right. That's the thing is like, if you get some person that's like,
if they find it on your property, they're going to feel like it's enough to try to guilt you into saying, like, fine, I'll give you $89 for a deep cleaning fee.
They're judging.
They're very judgy.
Because it's like they know it's 10 dudes coming through 10 guys and all this stuff, and they know who you are, and they're like,
they're very generous about the 10s with the 10 number.
Oh god, the last one we stayed in had I like was upstairs and I walked into the like what is an attic, no windows, no vents, no nothing, just a little closet with a bed in it, and I was like, this is.
There'll be a piece of rolled up foam on the ground, and they'll call that a bed.
A lot of them use the couches as beds.
Couches are beds.
The couches as beds.
Couches are beds.
I just like knowing the damage it does to neighborhoods, and all that stuff is just like it's
very
am
undesirable.
firmly against Airbnb. But it's also if you got a bunch of people. I mean,
it's
like
way
we can
cheaper.
Pay for us to stay in hotels. That's like not really a problem.
If you have a lot of people,
we had 9 camping is out of the question.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it.
You don't know me.
I'm not going to be spry and in a good mood if I have to sleep on a tree root. But yeah, if I get a Kingdom cot from REI or something, maybe if I get to sleep on one of those, it could work.
No, we'll never camp. It'll never happen. Brett tried to talk me into going to a thing. We were doing this festival, and he was like, "We're gonna do this festival. We're gonna camp." And I was like in a trailer?" And he was like, "No, like we're gonna fucking camp." And I was like, but like on outside camp.
Yeah.
And I just I said no 50 times until he was like, "We'll get a hotel," and I was like, "Yes, I will do this thing."
Well, thanks for calling Mississippi Willie. We really appreciate it. We got somebody else on the line that's waited, and the other ones are going to be bonus if we can get them in.
Got 15 minutes.
You got it, man. Y'all take it easy. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Mississippi Willie.
How great would it be like if we did a show and he just sat on the side and watched and drank, like a pack of camouflage beer or something?
We did do a show with Matt Christman sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah,
we have done it before.
We've accomplished a lot. This is our final caller. Everybody, the other people were jump-ins, so they're going to be bonus if we get to.
Jump-ins.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's late. It's late. It's very late.
Okay.
This person's been waiting an hour and a half.
Wow.
Okay,
Fucking 90 minutes
Yeah.
to talk some shit.
jumping.
But these other ones, yeah, they just are like, hey, I'll see if they'll take my call.
Call at the end.
Come on. All right. How's it going? Street Fight Radio. What's up?
Going pretty good. This is P from Los Angeles.
What's
P.
up, P?
Yeah, we got some of the Los Angeles folks in the house tonight taking calls.
Jack Allison's actually from Los
I'm
Angeles.
From
so if you have any,
myself.
if you have any conversation you want to have about LA,
we
Jack
can exclude everyone else here.
Let's
just between the two of us.
New restaurants on Sepulveda.
It's hot as fuck right now in LA.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's beautiful here. I
Like
will say
triple
that.
Pretty nice.
It is nice here. Yeah.
It's so it's
Weirdly
breezy.
nice here.
It is nice.
The sun is hot as shit, but there is a breeze that's coming through that is wonderful.
Very uncharacteristic for this place. But yeah, it's very
Enjoy
nice here.
that weather because global warming is going to just make it fucking so
Happen
much
more,
worse in
yeah.
10 years.
This is going to be like Florida. at
Sure.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we'll
benefit from that,
Yeah.
rising.
Everybody's going to want to be here eventually.
Except for people are going to come take my house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be too bad.
My rent's
When
going to be
George
six.
Clooney buys your house.
Yeah, my rent's going to be $6,000 a month.
Jackson Hole and
Well,
When you hear what
Brian,
people-
I have a tip for you.
What's up?
Get a sleeping pad, and then you can camp for like $10 a night.
I'm never
That's no problem.
sleeping pad.
ever
The problem with
ever.
camping is there's like scorpions and shit. Like there's not scorpions in hotels.
The
Like,
fucking
there's-
dew, man. Like when I'm sleeping at my house, I don't ever wake up covered in dew.
Yeah,
That's
like,
a
I
big
don't
difference
need it.
between camping versus hotels.
Yeah, I hate camping
Fair
so much.
But I do like
like I was actually that's how I got my first job. Was that my parents would go camping
hating
every weekend.
camping.
Yeah. My parents would go camping every single weekend. And they were like, look, if you get a job, you don't have to go camping anymore. I went right to fucking McDonald's and got a job. The day they fucking said it, I got a job at McDonald's.
I'm a minivan driver, and we found a tent that hooks onto the open minivan, and you can hook an air mattress up to like the laid down seats in the back. That's my plan for camping, but we have not executed on that plan yet. But I do have to be comfy.
Van life.
That's very
I'm-
intimate.
I'm not going to sleep on the ground. I do not want to sleep on the ground anymore. I don't have it in me at all.
All right.
Maybe
Fair
the
enough.
cot. Maybe
Never
a cot. Well, yeah, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. Do you have some?
Oh, no, I have a little bit more,
Okay.
if that's cool.
Yeah,
So,
get into
I've
it.
been unemployed for 3 fucking months.
Wow.
Great.
Living on that unemployment life.
Oh, very nice.
And
Yeah, there's conservative.
It's
What do you
been-
got? An Xbox, king crab legs, like everything, right?
Yeah, no, just living the life, going to the casinos and like just putting it all on red.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Always bet on red.
But yeah, the way I got fired was super fucking weird because I was working at like a startup, which God forbid nobody ever worked at a startup. It's the fucking worst idea in the world. But the people that were fucking training me to like do the job, they were out like for 2 fucking weeks. And then the 3rd week they come back and they start to train me. And then the end of that week they say, "Oh, you don't know what the fuck is going on and you're fired."
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, sometimes you're once again. This is another thing where you're actually just an extra in somebody else's very weird meltdown, very weird life.
Yeah.
I mean, those kind of things. I think really a lot of the calls that we've had is when shit falls apart, it's probably for the best because good things last.
Especially with these
the good things in my life.
Like people are just like they don't know what they're doing. They're spiraling out. And they're like, well, how the fuck do we run a business? They gotta go. Like, we don't have enough money. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
No.
it's for it.
I mean,
I
that's
was
literally the case. I'm not peeved at all because like the company, I like checked on it recently, and it's not going to be around much longer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You know,
it's kind of a blessing in disguise.
When I was even talking to my wife today about like some of the influencer people that I've kept my eyes on, you know, that have moved, they go from like Bitcoin to cannabis to like whatever is the hot commodity, and like they can generate enough excitement and revenue to get $500,000 or $1 million injected into their thing, but in 3 years it burns out, and so they just pivot to the next endeavor, whatever the hot thing is. Yeah. And they don't have any talent when it comes to like making long-lasting.
A lot of these people are just sort of like business school people.
Well, it's just at the end of the day, it's a lot of networking and just who you know, and the money just gets rotated around by people that are close to it, you know, and those people get the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all some weird fucked up system, and companies are run by fucking morons.
Yeah, for the most part, that's what I found. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we found. Well, thanks for calling, and I appreciate
I'll leave you guys on a good note. I have a job interview that went really well, so I think it's all going to work out.
Cool. Yeah, we wish you the best.
You guys have a wonderful night, and had a good time. Take care, y'all.
Peace out.
Right. We did it.
Well, we got a couple more to go.
These late
Take it to midnight. We'll take it to midnight. We got 9 minutes, so each one of them gets 4.5 minutes.
All right,
4.5 minutes.
right.
I'm just gonna hit drop.
All right, I'm gonna go stand outside.
Hey, thanks for calling Street Fight. You got 4.5 minutes tonight.
Hi, this is Joe. I have a work story to tell.
Go for it, Joe.
So basically, last week Friday, I was like wrapping up work, and not my boss, but like a manager who works in my office left before me. And you're supposed to lock the door from the outside before you leave, which is kind of weird, but I hadn't thought about it before, so I got locked in. And I didn't notice right away.
Oh my
God. So then I got up to go, and I'm like, oh shit, the door's locked. And I think about it, I'm like, oh, what the fuck do I do? There's only one door. So I called up 2 people on the internal phone. Nobody was there. And this is like a hodgepodge building where it's like the office is this sort of small second story above a single story factory. And there are big windows everywhere. So what I did was, well, actually, first I tried kicking the door a few times because it's this flimsy thing. But I don't know. I was worried they were going to get mad at me or something. So I thought I'll just go out the window. It's like one step down onto the roof. So I open the window, I open the screen, I step out, I get on the roof because I've seen people walking around on this roof before. I knew there must be some way down. And I look over to the edge, and there's just like a loading dock, that's kind of elevated. And then like some kind of racks for something on there. So I just step down, and I just walk away. I'm done. I'm done with work. I wanted to go home. I didn't want to like call people and see. I guess I have my actual boss's cell phone number, but I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Did you get out?
So anyway. Oh, go on.
No, you go. I'm sorry.
Okay. I come in the next Monday, and I notice, the manager, the guy who locked me in, is puzzling over the fact because I left the window open. He's like, he seemed confused by that, and I didn't say anything. Someone was like, "Oh, the wind must have blown it open." And it's this big, heavy metal frame window with a huge latch on it. Like, who believes that? But so later in the week, it's a small company, and the president of the company comes by, and he's talking to this manager about it's very important that all the windows be locked up at the end of the day. and you need to. He said something about an alarm, and it's expensive, and you got to send an email about it right away. So then I get this email, and I'll read it for you. It is imperative that the last person out of the second floor area is responsible to ensure that all the windows are closed and latched, all doors are closed and latched, all lights are off. We had an incident last weekend where a window blew open and also blew open a door, causing the alarm to go off. Because someone did not check before they left on Friday, the police were called in and a manager had to come in to verify and reset the alarm. Our lack of responsibility is not a good reason for the police to have to spend valuable time searching our building.
No.
Oh, jeez. Your heart goes out
To
the
think they would
police.
have to show up every time an alarm goes off. It just hurts,
I thought I escaped pretty clean. I didn't think, I guess not, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did get to cause a meeting, which is always fun.
Yeah, that's a good reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like everybody knows, like, it was me. Like, looking around, everybody was like, I did this. It was me.
I probably would have thought.
I'm the eye of the storm. I'm the eye of the storm
Tell
here.
them on your last day it was you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right, one more call.
You want to get one more?
Minutes.
Yeah,
if there's only one more.
We had to jump in,
just
but it's
one
like
more.
way
Another
too.
jump in?
Jump in is
Dude, if we
late.
keep
Too
answering
late.
jump-ins, we're gonna be
No,
here
let's
all
get this
night.
last jump in. Is 28 minutes they've waited. They've got 3 minutes to say their fucking
All right,
story.
jump in. Let's
Do it
go.
right. Jump in. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Why the fuck you jumping in?
Hey, I'm so sorry, guy. I called in earlier, and I've been skating around looking for an outlet to charge my phone because it's bad, man. I'm sorry.
You're the best late caller
I
we've
know.
had.
I called in with some fucking sob story, dude. Yeah. All right. Hey, what's up,
Hey,
guys?
can we-
First time calling in. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome. This is extra labor for me, and I'm really tired.
It's overtime. We get paid
Yeah.
overtime for this.
No, we don't.
All right, cool. Well, I'll subscribe to your Patreon. I just landed in Milwaukee. It's a cool town. I
It
just
is.
wanted to, call in, say hi.
Hey,
I'm
hey,
really down.
this is great.
Like I'm doing the start from scratch thing again, looking for a town that actually feels like home, I've been doing this since I was 19, just going to new places and looking for, I don't know, man, somewhere that feels right, and I'm just hoping this is it, once again. So I won't keep you long.
All right.
That's all. I just wanted to say
Go
hi,
to
and
the
thanks
Vanguard.
for taking the call.
Go eat at the Vanguard. It's a good restaurant. It's pro wrestling.
Vanguard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Check it out.
buddy.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. There's always
Thank
a
you.
chance to reinvent yourself. I mean, you can always, right? All you need is all you need, right? Is a reason to say things are going to get better, and then you can convince yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the call-in show. Thanks for being here. Thank you, surprise guest Jack Allison.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you,
Thank you.
on-time guest Leslie Lee. We are Street Fight Radio and Struggle Session. You can find us in Indianapolis, Indiana tomorrow night at the Irving Theater. We're going to be in Detroit, Michigan on Tuesday at Planet Ant, and then on Friday, who is that? Oh, I fucking did that thing for 666. It's my computer. So on Friday, we're going to be in Chicago at the Hideout. The rowdiest crowd you're ever going to perform in. I mean, so far, they're crazy as hell there. It's going to be.
We're gonna have There's secret guests in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Secret guests.
And lots of Malort. So we will be there. Thanks for supporting the show and what we do. Get those tickets today. If you don't understand how it works, you're not actually buying tickets from us. We're just going to put your name on a list. There's a lot of very nervous people that listen to our show that are like, I didn't get like a physical confirmation. No, nothing was mailed to me, and there was nothing I could print out. And I'm like, just show up and say your name and don't lie about it, and we'll let you in.
We got you, fam.
Yeah, you're taken care of. So be there. It's going to be a good time. We're Street Fight Radio. Their Struggle Sesh. We'll see you later this week. Maybe on Wednesday.
Maybe.
Could happen.
Hey, don't hold your breath.
If we're going to do extra, we did overtime tonight. Maybe we'll do some extra effort on Wednesday. But we'll see you.
Probably not. Do extra effort Wednesday. I
Peace.
doubt it.